Yo. This is Damage Per Second Podcast. That's DPS Podcast. And we are back on a fine Thursday night. Feeling all right. I was trying to come up with something different, but I couldn't think of nothing. So
I was about to say, there's a lot of dead air there.
I was trying to figure it out, man. But it's cool. It's cool. We are here. I am your host, co-host, SloMoBackSlap with my co-host, Gaming Forte. What's up, Forte?
What up, though? It's been great day.
It's been a week.
Great day. Great day.
It's been a great day. Yeah.
Great day. Great week.
Day.
Great week. Great day.
Buying a lot of hardware, you know.
Shout out to all the people out there.
Hardware. Oh my God. Here we go with Yoshi.
Yoshi here.
What's up, Yoshi?
What up, though? What up, though?
You're a little richer today, aren't you?
Oh man, we was already rich, but you know, we just padding the stats right now. The bank is going through the roof. You know your boy Yoshi like money because he a green person himself. But I want to say thank you to all of you amazing people out there that supported the Switch 2 launch over the last 24 to 48 hours. It's been incredible watching you guys unbox your brand new systems, playing your games, you know, things that a lot of people don't do in some communities. I just want to say I appreciate you. Nintendo appreciates you. And if Mario wasn't running around chasing after Peach all the time, he would appreciate you too. But thank you again, guys. I'm not going to hold up the show because, you know, this great podcast hosted by the homie SloMoBackSlap and Gaming Forte is amazing, and they don't need me to prop it up. So I'm going to turn it back over to them. But thank you again, once again, guys. We really, truly appreciate all the love and support. And just, you know, play games and have a good week.
Yoshi coming in hot.
Well, all right, Yoshi.
Yoshi coming in hot.
And thank you, Chrono, and great name, by the way, Chrono. Chrono in the chat said I was coming in a little low. I checked, and yeah, for some reason Windows decided to make my really lower my mic volume. So got that squared away. Appreciate you, sir. Forte, man, you know, like you.
Yeah, man. What's up?
You had a very busy day.
Shoot, a day. Try 36
we're gonna
hours.
get into it. We're gonna get into it, right? But like,
yeah, we can get into it.
Before we get there,
yeah, let's
before we get there,
yeah.
Have you played anything over the past week?
Yeah. I am about, I want to say 60% through Doom. Doom Eternal, Jesus. Doom Dark Ages. Really enjoying that game. I just finished Thane's loyalty mission inside of Mass Effect 2 on PC. Oh,
amazing mission.
Yes, Thane's loyalty mission is freaking incredible. But outside of that, not really too much more, but just for the simple fact that it's just like, you know, with Pokemon launching Friday last week, and then it's just been full tilt ever since the beginning of this week. So that's the biggest thing. I'm off work on Saturday. I plan on getting caught up on some stuff. I picked up Bravely Default for the Switch 2, so I'm definitely gonna jump into that.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, man,
did you bring home, you know, a Switch 2?
Oh, it's already it's upstairs, updated with Mario Kart on it right now, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, come on.
I want some impressions. I want some impressions.
You'll get them
next week. You know, I want to know, you know, in great detail how much better this one is compared to Mario Kart 8. You know, and we'll get into it. We'll get into it. Anything else you've been playing, sir?
No, that's mostly it, man. Just jumping around doing that. And I will say this, I did. Shout out to the homie Taz, Sir Taz 117 for anybody.
Shout out to Taz, man.
He came up to my store the other day, and I want to say, what was that? Thursday? No, not Thursday. Tuesday. Came up to the store, and we were talking, and put it this way, they added some stuff to Destiny. This man then jumped off the bridge and went out and pre-ordered the new DLC.
Oh no.
Yep, pre-ordered the
Oh
DLC.
man, we gonna have to find this brother and pull him back from the brink.
Listen, they put a trailer out of a Titan throwing his hammer under Sunbreaker and doing the Mjolnir. Going with it in throwing your hammer. And he's always talked about this for like years. He was like, why do I have to run to pick up my hammer? Why can't I just call my hammer back? And he actually made it. He actually came up with a name for an exotic and everything to for gauntlets that will allow you to throw your hammer, and instead of having to run and pick it up, you could call it back. And not only did they literally took it and put it in the game. So in the trailer that they just released for the new DLC Hype Train that comes out next month, they show the Titan throwing his hammer and basically calling it back to him. And as it's coming back, it's like hitting and doing like solar explosions all over the place. It looks incredible.
So they're copying Thor and Kratos. They just fully sold out. They went, Star Wars route. They trying their best to make you think of Star Wars when you play Destiny. Yep. Now they anything popular, they're just like, take it, rip it, let's go. I mean, they've been doing that for game design for years, but I understand.
I ain't mad at them. So this is the thing. So I told Taz, I was like, Taz, if you jump out the window, you notice my homie, I want to play games with him. I said, if you jump out the window, I'll jump out too. So he sends me a picture. He said, I got to think about it. He sends me a text message yesterday of him showing that he owns all of the next DLC. I instantly called him on the phone, was like, I can't. I said, bro, I love you, but I hate you at the same time. Now I have to buy this freaking DLC.
No, you actually don't.
I did, though.
This is called peer pressure. Come with it.
I did buy it. I did. I bought it. The trailer looked incredible. I ain't gonna lie. The trailer looked
When do their trailers not look incredible? This is how they get y'all every single time.
Well,
they give you an amazing trailer and then you be like, oh, it's gonna be different this time, and it's not. Listen, but it's fine. We'll revisit this same old argument another 2 or 3 months.
So basically what I'm saying is I jumped back into Destiny just to install the new DLC that's coming out next month, and I will be there for that. That's about it. Sorry, SloMo.
Mm-hmm.
What about you? What have you been playing?
By the way, we should have a special guest coming through.
Okay.
In a little bit. I forgot to tell you. My bad.
Oh no, you're fine. That's cool.
But so I'm finally moving on from the eventual game of the year, Expedition 33. After
4 different platforms and hundreds of hours on each one.
And I've 100% of the game on 2 platforms, and I'm halfway through it on the 3rd. But I said, you know what?
Freaking wild.
I think it's time to put a pause on that. Let's try some other games. So I started trying other games. Games I had already installed that's just been staring at me every time I look at my desktop. Just like, why won't you play me? Why won't you love me? I'm like, I'm sorry. Okay, my bad. Let me try you out. And so I tried out Star Ocean: The Second Story, and I uninstalled that bad boy in 30 minutes. It just wasn't.
Was it hitting?
I wasn't feeling it. I'm not saying it's a bad game. I just wasn't feeling it at the time. Okay. So I moved on from that one. Then I loaded up Dark Deity 2, which is what you see on the Jumbotron right now.
Jumbotron.
And man, it's a strategy RPG. It's giving me them Fire Emblem vibes. I want a Fire Emblem, a new Fire Emblem. I would, hey Nintendo, give me a new Fire Emblem, please. But this will do. It's got a decent story. Pretty cool characters, good solid game mechanics. It's not as good as Fire Emblem. You say what?
What system is this on?
Oh, this is on PC.
Okay, on PC. Gotcha.
As far as I know, it's PC. I don't know if it's on any of the platforms. I mean, you can look at it. It's clearly it can run on anything. It can run on a handheld.
Oh,
So,
shout out to
but yeah,
Edgerunners.
I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying it. What is arcade saying? What is that? Okay, all right. Anyway, no. So it's a good game. It's got, the visual. It's not the most visually pleasing game, but a game doesn't have to be a AAA, a AAA budgeted visual masterpiece to be a good game. It's a good quality game that I'm enjoying. I'm also still playing The Division 2. I haven't got a single exotic, the new exotics to drop yet, but it's fine. I'm still playing the game. I have none of the special gear. None of that stuff has dropped for me. Like, my RNG has not been my friend whatsoever, but it's fine.
Yeah.
Still playing the game. And plus, with the way the season plays out, the free track of the battle pass gives you all of that stuff anyway. At least gives you most of the exotics and all the new special gear. You just gotta keep playing. So I'll eventually get the stuff. I would just like for it to drop for me, so I don't have to wait to get it. But fine, regardless. I playing around with a new build. It's all right, but it's not quite there yet. I still gotta min max it. But yeah, that's what I've been doing, man. And Forte, I have to confess something.
Yeah, go ahead. Tell me something I already know.
Oh, you already do? Oh,
Tell me something I already know, but go ahead.
I got weak today. I had a momentary
knees got weak.
Momentary lapse in my integrity today. It was hard. It was difficult, but everything that was going on, difficult for me to continue on with what I've been doing. So
down the righteous path.
I bought a handheld today.
You bought a handheld to head. Does it start with an N?
It can be docked to a TV.
Okay. A lot of things can be docked to a TV. A Steam Deck can be docked to a TV. So
True.
Continue.
True. So in the midst of everything that was going on and everyone's revelry with their new hardware and all the games they'll be playing, I went ahead and bought me a Steam Deck OLED.
I knew it. I knew you wasn't about to get me. I knew it. I knew you wasn't gonna get me. I was like, a Steam Deck can be docked to a TV too. I was secretly like, he ain't go. This is a trick. This is a trap. He don't want me to say, oh man, he done fell off the wagon. It got to switch too. Nope, we ain't gonna fall for this. Congratulations on the OLED though.
Thank you.
How you like it? You got it today, so you got everything set up on it?
Yeah, well, no. I purchased it today. It won't be here for another 3 to 5 business days. So sometime next week.
I'm so used to being able to go to the store from retail to just buy stuff. The fact that you can't do that with a Steam Deck is like, I forgot all about that. You gotta order it and have it shipped to you.
Yep.
Did you get the 512 or did you splurge for the 1 terabyte?
I got the 512. I got the one because I could just upgrade that myself.
You can just upgrade, yeah.
Yeah, why spend an additional what is that? I can't remember the pricing structure, but another $150. I got a NVMe SSD. I got 2 or 3 of them I can throw in there here in the house right now. I ain't got to spend no additional money. So, yeah, I bought it today. And it's something that, I've been kind of mulling over because I do have a Logitech G Cloud and it's fine while I'm in the house, but I'm about to go on vacation in a few weeks. And I wanted something that I've taken my laptop with me and used GeForce Now, and that's been fine for the most part. But the last time we went to, where did we go last year? I think we went to South Myrtle Beach, I think. And the Airbnb that we were at, the internet was just not that good. And so I really like struggled with trying to play what I wanted to play through GeForce Now. And so I had this G Cloud with the intention of taking that with me and then I could, still have it, on the internet and everything. And, but it's like the G Cloud is so limited. Like it doesn't, you can't dock it to a TV. And there's an issue with the right thumbstick where it's like it's consistently inaccurate, and you got to like really tune it for every game you play. And I'm just like, man,
I do have a question.
I'm not dealing with this.
I got a question. To ask you.
Mm-hmm.
Did you post? Because this is typical SloMo, and I just want to see if you did it.
What?
So you bought an OLED today, a Steam Deck OLED today.
Mm-hmm.
Did you post the fact that did you post a picture of you buying that on X?
No.
You didn't. Oh, good. Okay, I'm proud of you. Okay, good. Because old SloMo, not this new, this new SloMo. Old SloMo would have like took the shot to be like, I bought a new handheld today, and then posted a picture of the receipt showing that it not only is it not a Switch 2. The dig at all the people buying Switch 2s today would have been like, I bought a Steam Deck OLED, just so you could dig at the people that bought Switches today. But
I didn't even think about that.
Good. That means you have grown up 100%. Thank you.
Growth. That's the word today. Growth. We growing today.
We growing today. We're not being adolescents anymore.
Nope. No pettiness over here. It's a non-petty zone. By the way, I do have like the friend that I got the. I was going to save this for the discussion on the Switch 2 launch, but I'll just say it now because I might have to like run away real quick because he the guy that helped get a Switch 2 through the invite Nintendo sent me. He's coming to pick it up tonight because he didn't get off of work until 9. So when he stops by, he'll send me a text, and I'll just say I'll be right back, and I'll just run out and just hand it off to him, and then get back to the show. So no worries, but that's just something to think about. But yeah, that's about it. Got me a Steam Deck OLED on the way. I have a few games that I know for certain that like I feel like I just don't feel like playing them on my PC. But when I go on vacation, I'll be playing them for certain because I'm always gonna have I'll be spending a lot of time with family and a lot of time, just doing activities, doing whatever, and then likely being super exhausted at the end of the day. But I normally have a good hour and a half when we go on vacation each day to myself to just do whatever, and it'd be great to be able to just do that, on a device. And the OLED, I had the original Steam Deck and I sold it, but the OLED's got like a better screen, a better battery. It's not a huge upgrade, but just better performance in general. So yeah, man, yeah. So that's what I did.
That's what you did.
That's what I did. Anyway, so you ready to get into these rapid fire topics? We got a lot to talk about. We're gonna have a very live show because it's I feel like every platform did something or has got something coming,
Yep.
And so we're gonna get into it, man. You ready to do this?
I'm ready. Let's go.
Let's go. Oh, wait, where is my soundboard? Where is it? Give me a second.
You done lost it, guys.
No, I got it.
Oh,
Rapid fire topic number 1 in the house. Rapid fire topic number 1: People Can Fly have canceled 2 projects now. And it's kind of unfortunate. You never want to hear that a company had to cancel some projects, but People Can Fly has canceled 2 of the projects they had in development and laid off, unfortunately, around 50 employees. And one of those projects was something called Project Gemini. And this was going to be published by Square Enix. Now, if you recall, People Can Fly, they made Outriders, and that was published by Square Enix. And to kind of recap people on how that turned out, Outriders was a pretty decent looter shooter. It was a pretty decent game. It had a ton of bugs, but it was a lot of fun, pretty different. Unfortunately, People Can Fly was not very happy with the reception of Outriders, and not because it didn't sell great. I mean, we don't really know. I don't think it sold terribly. I mean, I know it charted for a while, but I don't think that was terrible. But the issue became with Game Pass, and not necessarily that they dislike Game Pass, but the issue was that they had a contract with Square Enix where they didn't get paid a dime off the sales of this game until it reached a certain revenue goal. And then after making the contract, Square Enix puts Outriders day and date in Game Pass. And the way that eventually turned out is, that took away some sales from the game. People were able to play the game through Game Pass on PC and Xbox and not necessarily have to buy the game to play through it. People Can Fly clearly has some issues with this. If you look at a lot of the press statements that they said in light of that in the months after launch, they talked about self-publishing. They talked about the ills of working with a publisher who kind of holds all the cards because you're a poor developer that can't afford to finance your own games, that kind of thing. And so, long story short, they gave the impression they would never work with Square Enix again, but then you see this isn't the first time they've had to cancel projects. They've canceled other projects. I do believe they've had some funding issues with a lot of the things they've been working on in the future. And when it all comes down to it, it's just it looks like they had to go back to Square Enix. What would have been for what people expect to have been what would have been Outriders 2. And unfortunately, looks like that's just not going to happen. So, Forte, what are your thoughts on this, man?
I mean, honestly, it's not really there. I mean, when you can't self-publish and you don't read all the documentation that is taking place, because I guarantee there was documentation in place where Square had sole discretion on the distribution of that game, and under those guidelines, if they Xbox drops them a sizable bill, it allows them to be able to do that. So part of it is blamed on the managing team over at the company, but then I also think it still sucks the simple fact that they didn't even get money off of the like whatever money Ubisoft got for putting it in Game Pass.
Square Enix.
I keep saying Ubisoft. Yeah, Square Enix. All the money that Square Enix got off of the deal, I don't think got funneled to the studio at all. That just went straight to Square Enix.
And maybe I didn't quite explain that right. So the way that contract was structured, it didn't have any kind of consideration for a subscription service and money given up front from the controller of the subscription service to the publisher, Square Enix. And so Square Enix took a bag to get Outriders in day and date in Game Pass. And because that wasn't explicitly stated how that will work in the contract, People Can Fly got nothing out of that. So none of that revenue that Square Enix got went towards People Can Fly's revenue goals needed in order for them to be able to get paid. Now, I'm not saying they never got paid on Outriders. Maybe they did eventually, but it's really unlikely considering that a good bulk of the sales of a game happen in the first 90 days. And I recall seeing something that said like 6 months after the launch of the game, they still hadn't hit the revenue goal necessary for them to start getting money off of the game. And it's just that's just unfortunate, you know, because you put in a lot of time, years, you know, and with hundreds of people working on a game only to not get any kind of really benefit from it. And it's not a bad game, you know, it's a pretty good game. You would think that a studio that makes a pretty good game should be able to get a sequel done that has a bigger budget, that you know allows you to bring on a few more people to make sure that you can do some of the things in the sequel that you wanted to do in the original game, but maybe didn't have the right skill sets available, didn't have the right technology available, whatever, right? And it's just instead we get a canceled game because as this has been stated, Square Enix and People Can Fly could not come to terms with this game, and I think more than likely People Can Fly was probably, this is my speculation, but People Can Fly was probably like, nah, fam, you not gonna be putting this into Game Pass or PS Plus or whatever and not getting us a portion of that. We're not doing this again, and you know it's ruthless out here. So unfortunate. I would have loved to play the sequel, but it is what it is. Anything else you want to say on this before we move on to the next one?
It's unfortunate. I mean, but I also will say the game did well, but the developers also didn't do, you know, great by the community with some of the issues that game had.
It had a lot of problems.
Like
yes,
people
it had a
losing
lot
all
of
their
issues.
gear and not being like, people wasn't even able to load into the game for like a month.
Yeah,
which was crazy.
It had a lot of problems. Yes.
So that's kind of part of the reason why I kind of look at it on both sides. Like, yeah, just ultimately Square screwed them when it came to the money side of it. But I think if the game was more put together, I think the community probably could have came together a little bit more to put more pressure on it. Not saying that Square would have caved or anything. It's just a simple fact that when you got a community, when the community's behind you, you know, a lot of things can kind of happen. And the community was also against them a lot too, due to the fact of all the issues the game was having. So that's kind of
yeah. Another thing that I had a problem with personally, I never lost any of my like stuff, you know, because there were some people that like would you know log in one day and none of their gear is there, it's all gone, you know, that kind of thing. But like I never had that issue with that. I did find very frustrating was two things. After I beat the game, there were other people who were still doing the campaign. They were trying to beat the game, and I would try to go help them play through the game. But the scaling between what my level was and what their level was made it really frustrating because they nerfed me. So it's like you can't do two of these things, right? Like if you want to say, well, we don't want to allow another player who's far more powerful than the host to come in and basically carry the host to the content. Okay, well, let's raise the power level of the enemies to the player that is coming in. Okay, that's fine if you want to do that. But then you can't go nerf me when you do that at the same time. You can't cap my damage levels and raise the enemies to my level at the same time. Right. That just makes this like the host can't kill anything and I'm dying because you've handicapped me, but then made the enemies as powerful as I am. That makes no sense. You gotta do pick or choose, do one or the other.
Right.
There was that. And then it come to find out, like, you know, I love build crafting. I love building different things and especially looters, like different ways to break the game, have awesome builds and stuff. And so a lot of what the gaming community was creating in the game turned out to be based off of like faulty, like fuzzy math, essentially. Like there were skills passive as well as active that you would unlock and you would use in your build. Some of them were broken. Some of them did not work correctly. And so people had like made entire builds based around stuff that was broken only for them to fix it and then break everyone's build. And so like in one day I can I can solo the hardest content. They come out with an update and I go into not even the hardest content, just like 3 levels down, world tiers down as they call them. And I get like sniped. I get like knocked out with grazed by a bullet and I'm down. And I'm just like, what? I'm like, I could solo this stuff before and now I can't even make it out of the first area. Like, it's just, that's not fun. But what I would have wanted is for people to fly to have another crack at it. Another crack at like, okay, we got the feedback. We made some mistakes. Let's try this one more time. Because I say this about a lot of games that show potential. And then when they don't get a sequel, it kind of frustrates me because I wish they would have got a sequel. Because I kind of want to see what the developer could have done in the sequel to make it better. And to really make it to be the game that everybody wanted to be. But it is what it is, man. Anything else you want to say on this one before we get cool?
On.
Next rapid fire topic. I love that so much. Cyberpunk. So Cyberpunk Edgerunners, the amazing anime that's on Netflix. Cyberpunk Edgerunners is getting a sequel. I guess maybe you call it a sequel. Is it a season 2? I don't know really how they're going to really classify that, but it has been announced that they will be showing a teaser of this in July. So this is an announcement of an announcement essentially, but that's coming in July. Clearly if you haven't seen it yet, I don't know what the heck you've been doing, because the game's fantastic. No, sorry, the anime, fantastic. I'm not going to ruin how it plays out, but I'll just say that I think that they should probably roll with a different cast of characters for this next one. And I have some ideas, but I'm not going to say anything because if it turns out to be what it is, then I want my royalties anyway. But so we're supposed to be getting an Edgerunner sequel soon, which I'm super hyped for. But also, it has been stated that the game itself, Cyberpunk 2077, is getting another update at the end of the month, but no details on what that update will contain. Now, to kind of temper expectations, CDPR has passed off the development or the maintaining of Cyberpunk 2077 to a support studio. So they don't actually work on the game directly anymore. They may kind of give guidance, but they have someone else, another studio that handles all that now. More than likely, what this update would be more bug fixes, quality of life improvements, that kind of stuff. Like nothing, like not new content in the sense of that, like new story content or another DLC like Phantom Liberty. Like I really don't think that's in the cards anymore. I do know that like before this game's renaissance, its huge comeback, they had other DLC planned, and due to the reception of the game and the backlash to it, they canceled all but Phantom Liberty. And I'm sure everyone wishes all that other content never got canceled, because then we could be in, as this game has finally kind of like really hit that level where people expected it to be. People would have loved to have another DLC. I would love to have another DLC, but yeah, that's likely not to be in the cards. But Forte, what are your thoughts on Edgerunners 1 and this update coming later this month?
The question is that update coming to the Switch 2 version too?
Say again.
Is
that update?
Yeah.
That update will be they from what I heard, that update won't be on Switch 2 yet.
Yeah.
They're a little behind. They got to get caught up with the Switch 2 version of Cyberpunk. But this update will be on everything else, like, you know, Xbox, PlayStation, PC.
Yeah. No, listen, man. Talk about a redemption story. That company, everybody was like down on CD, and now, you know, 3 years later, you know, look where it is now. One of the best games out there, and it only took a bunch of patches and a couple of years to fix it. But no, I mean, the more and more you get, I actually started, and that's the thing I need to go back and do, because I did start my corporal run in the Cyberpunk, but I haven't been back to it in like months and stuff, so I need to kind of get back in there just to play it, to get back used to it again. But I think this is always good, because, you know, the biggest thing about, you know, CD Projekt Red is they always have content coming. We know that they're working on, you know, a new Witcher, but the biggest thing is, you know, they really don't move on until they're completely done with the IP that they're in. So, you know, wherever the state Witcher is in right now, it hasn't even really started. We kind of found that out from, you know, everything that was being talked about during the development of Cyberpunk and how long it took to do that. But technically, they didn't even start working on the game until like 2016, 2017. So yeah, it's just good to see that, you know, consistent. They're staying consistent, I think. And the thing that usually happens with CD Projekt Red games is the more and more DLC they come out with, the better the DLC gets. I mean, you would think that would be something you would be like, duh, no, you know, that's kind of easy to say, because, you know, you got real good practice at something, you kind of make it better. But that's not the case for most studios. Most studios or most games don't get better when it comes to like the DLC. Half the time it seemed like it's throwaway or just something that they had to make because they, you know, charged people for a deluxe edition of the game. They gave them extra story missions and stuff like that. You know, when
maybe the studio gets shut down and then they don't even come out with the DLC that they planned. You know, looking at you, Redfall. But
looking at Red, exactly.
And people pay for a buyback edition, and the only thing that got bit was them and their wallet.
Yep. So and that's kind of the scenario that you know, most people be talking about. But with CD Projekt Red, you know, they're going to work on a game until they're finished with it. So if there's stuff that's coming, it's going to be, you know, they're going to release it, and then with their track record, everything that they have kind of done in a DLC format has been better than almost the base game. Like, it's like you can literally play just this and be happy at the end of it, because they kind of, you know, finalized and perfected the things that they wanted to do into the game, and then they implement that into those DLCs, and then in parts of the game that are kind of tied to it, they improve that stuff. So even the overall game experience becomes better. So I haven't gotten far enough to, like, you know, really have an opinion on it, but I know for people just off of past experience, like I played Witcher, and I will tell you, playing the DLC Blood and Wine in Witcher 2 was like, or Witcher 3, I'm sorry, not Witcher 2. Witcher 3, I felt like, I said, dude, this is like better than the main game. And it's because they did a lot of quality of life updates with that game that made it overall better. Combat still could have been better, but overall story development, you know, the overall pacing, flow, everything was great. And I can speak to that myself.
I'm gonna challenge you to do this instead of playing Destiny.
No. Why?
We haven't heard the rest of the sentence yet, man.
I already know where this is going, but go ahead.
Instead of playing Destiny.
Yes.
Play Cyberpunk.
I have a PC. It looked beautiful too. Probably with path tracing on.
Yeah. You know, we're forward. Look, I'm what's playing on the Jumbotron now isn't even path tracing. Is ray trace cycle settings, which is like the maximum for the ray trace settings. And you know, I played at you know, DLSS quality 4K with averaging like 85 to 100 frames.
Killing it.
It's pretty. It's fantastic. I'm just saying, because you like RPGs, you like Mass Effect. This is the closest you're going to get to Mass Effect, as far as like character development, story writing, the depth of the story, all that stuff. This is the closest you're going to get.
Right.
So instead of playing some rehash nonsense from Destiny.
What?
Play Cyberpunk. I'm just saying, just try it. Just because I really want to hear your feedback. I really want to hear when you get to certain story points in the game, how you feel about it.
Okay.
And I think the audience want to hear the same thing.
Yeah, they just want to hear that I'm playing something that's. They just want to hear me finishing the game. That's what they want to hear.
Yeah, that too.
That's what Gregor. That's what Gregor want to hear if he's here.
Anything else you want to say on this before we move on to the next and the final? The final, I think it's the final rapid fire. Yeah, the final.
Yep, I'm good.
This is really not even considered a rapid fire, but we're gonna do it anyway. So, final rapid fire topic: PlayStation had a state of play this week.
Sure did.
Did you see that, Forte?
I did. Well, I didn't see it all the way straight through. I just caught the trailers after the fact.
Right. I watched it. It was
something, huh?
Yeah, look, man. Look. It's very polarizing what I've been seeing, because there's people who love the state of play, and then there are people who just outright hated it. Now, I'm not going to say I'm in either of those camps. I didn't hate it, but I did not think it was good. I was fighting sleep the entire time, but I did, become a bit lucid to see a few things that I enjoyed.
Okay.
Chief among them was Final Fantasy Tactics remastered. Was something that it had been kind of alluded to from people over the past couple of days, and so I was already kind of spoiled in knowing that was coming, but it was a joy to see it nonetheless. It's not much of an upgrade. They just kind of cleaned up the visuals a little bit. They call it enhanced mode, but it's really not like that much enhanced. But I don't care, because it's Final Fantasy Tactics is one of the best RPGs ever made. And I finally get to play it, without an emulator, on whatever platform I want. So I'm happy about that. Mm-hmm. There was this game called Tides of Tomorrow. And that one seemed very interesting, because it seems like it's multiplayer. It has a multiplayer focus to it, but it seems as if you can see the paths that other people took to try to complete certain quests or missions and stuff like that. So I thought that was very interesting. It's made by the same developer that made the Road 96, which is a nice little indie game that I appreciated a few years ago when it came out. I'm interested in that one. I'm going to check that one out. But those, as far as like me personally, those were no. There was one more game before I get into the ones that I thought looked good, but I'm not gonna play them. What is it's the dumbest name? It's like something is dead. Robin Hood is dead, or whatever the heck this. I don't know what it was called. It was something. I'm dying, and woe is me. Whatever it's called. I can't remember the name of it. But the combat looked pretty interesting. I thought, it looked goofy. There we go, Romeo. Romeo is a dead man. That one looked a little goofy, but the combat seemed all right. I have my eye on it, but the rest, I'm good. It was either stuff that I already knew was coming and had seen multiple times before, or stuff that I just wasn't interested in. But outside of those, let's see. What was the name of that? Pragmata looked all right. I'm not gonna play it. What's another one? That Marvel token Fighting Souls, whatever it's called, it's, Marvel versus Capcom on steroids. It looks like by Arc System.
Yep.
Yeah, look dope. If I was still in the fighting games, I would be all for it, but I'm not. So, I'm not gonna play it. But for those who love fighting games, you're probably gonna love it, right? And I feel like there was one more game that I saw that, that 007 First Light, that actually looked all right. It looked pretty good. But I'm not into stealth games. Definitely not into the kind of games that IO Interactive makes with like Hitman. And it just seems like game design wise, it's Hitman with a 007 skin and a much more broader story. So I'm good. I'm not gonna play that either. They did an all right job. It's just Alive, it just did not resonate with me, and I think it didn't resonate with a lot of people. And before I let you go, I think the reason why things didn't resonate with the people who are showing dissatisfaction with the state of play is that people are sick of state of plays. They want to showcase, and they want a showcase that gives them a roadmap of what PlayStation is working on.
But they're getting the Ghost of Yokai special state of play in July.
Yeah, I mean, they already know Ghost of Yokai is coming, and they're going to play that. I think that people are just really tired of not knowing. At least having something to be excited for beyond this year. And I don't know what's going on internally with Sony Interactive Entertainment, but we have to recognize the difference between getting roadmaps and getting showcases all the time and knowing 2-3 years out what to really look forward to and being excited for those things and Sony really putting the effort in to really showcase and celebrate their games. Like, remember the very last E3 they did where execution wise for the people who were there, it wasn't great. But for the people who watched it at home, it looked fantastic how they had like this turning room thing and they were showing one game. They showed like The Last of Us Part 2 and then they turned it. Then they showed Ghost of Tsushima. Then they turned it. Then they showed something else and people had to get up and move. And they were like, oh, I don't like getting up and move. I'm fat and lazy. But like, no, everyone else like at home was like, hey, Fluke Eye's pretty, like, this is pretty artistic. You got like girls coming off down the rafters and silk and stuff. It was all right. And now it just seems like they don't care about none of that stuff. Which I know things change, but with the failures that they've had with live service, in addition to not really seeing too much of the first party content, the single player content, I get the discontent. Because although I don't primarily play on PlayStation, I do have the platform for those games. I don't have the platform for the third party stuff because I don't play that on my PC. Like all but one game that they showed, which was Yotai, is coming to PC. So as far as as well as that VR game, because the PSVR is on PC too, right? So look, I'm good. I'm good with that show. It ain't for me. But I will also reiterate what I've been said about how I see things with them. And then I'll let you go. Like, I don't think they'll ever do a PlayStation showcase again. Unless it's to show off the PS6. I think, okay, all right, yeah, B-Money, that is correct. Saros, which is the Housemarque game, there is Death Stranding 2 and Intergalactic. So they have shown some games. What's up, bro? I do think that there's just not. I think it is the way everything is so spread out that people still just kind of feel like, okay, but where's the update? Or what's this other studio doing? Oh, like it's just not the same as it was before. Good to see B-Money. You've seen a lot of the homies. coming through tonight. I appreciate that.
I know, man.
All right,
they love us.
Forte,
Yo,
what's your thoughts on the show, man?
it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. You want to know what?
Why are you saying that like you laughing, like at the same, like you not being serious? What is that?
No, I am being serious. Okay. Remember last time they did a showcase and I told you
Like 2 years ago?
Oh, not a showcase. Last time they did a state of play. I miss showcases too. Remember last time I told you they did a show? They did I'll say it again. State of play, and you asked me what was the game that I was excited for the most. Do you remember what that game was?
No.
Everybody's Golf. Remember that?
Oh yeah. They did show that, didn't they? Yeah,
they did. I was like, yes, more Everybody's Golf. So yes, that is still up there. You know, the next game that I was super excited for, not even super excited for, but just excited to get a chance to play. Second game on that list. Take a guess.
You gonna have to just tell me, man.
Oh, you can't even take a guess.
Okay, I'm gonna guess. Days Gone 2.
No, I didn't even play the first one. Luminous Arise.
Oh yeah, that was like the second game they showed, right?
Sure was. I love Luminous. So I've always been like a puzzle person, so I love games like that. Hint why I play Tetris so much on Switch. Now, on a serious note, Pragmata looks really good. I was like, damn, they showed that a while ago, and that game looks cool. Probably the coolest looking game there. So I'm definitely interested in that. I think the Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection, Caleb, my daughter, I didn't even see, because that's what made me, because I forgot all about the state of play. Wasn't even looking for it. Kayla texted me, you know, she's a huge Mortal Kombat person. Texted me, was like, Dad, I need this. And I was like, what? And she sent me the trailer. And I was like, oh, this is state of play today. So then that's when I started going look at all the trailers and stuff. And I was like, oh yeah. And I was like, dog, the Legacy Collection, that's actually pretty cool with all the stuff that they're bringing into that game. But I'm not gonna say it was weak, because it wasn't. Ninja Gaiden was another one, you know, that I was like, that's really, really cool too. Especially with this being the year of all the Ninja Gaiden games coming out.
Right, yeah. I mean, like that looked good, but it's just it's not the kind of game I would play. So
right.
And
that's the thing. It was stuff there so this is the problem. It was stuff there for everybody, but it wasn't the stuff that people wanted to see. That's the problem. Now, yes, if you were excited for the next days,
do you think, real quick, do you think
Bloodstain? I love Bloodstain.
The vague way that they kind of spoke on what was to be there, they didn't explicitly spell out, like, it's just, this is a third party showcase with a couple of other gems here or there. Because I saw some people on my timeline getting a little hyped up, thinking this was going to be like they were going to show something massive that they hadn't seen yet, which, you know, depending on the kind of games you like, maybe you felt the Marvel fighting game was that kind of big kind of game. I think the fighting game communities is niche enough where you know, most people wouldn't think that was that big of a deal, even though PlayStation is the home of the fighting game. Like, if you're a fan, a gamer who loves fighting games, and you don't own a PlayStation, I don't know what you're doing. You're hurting yourself. You should get a PlayStation immediately. By the way, they got their own fighting stick coming out. I thought that was pretty dope. Not sure how good it's going to be, but I feel like that was long overdue. They should have did that, considering what the platform is to, you know, as far as fighters. Mm-hmm. But my bad. Go ahead and continue, man.
No. But like I was saying, like another one was Bloodstain. Love Bloodstain. Another game that I was like, oh, that's really cool. But it was just, I think at this point, and you kind of hit it right on the head when you first said it. I just didn't want to react to it like that. People just are tired of state of plays. Like, okay, Ghost of Yotai is getting a state of play, a dedicated state of play. We didn't. Is at a certain point we didn't see so much of the game, and yeah, is it cool to probably get a developer deep dive on some of the environments and things and like the overall story plotting and stuff like that we're going to get from a dedicated state of play? Yeah, for the people that really like that, but I'm also one of the, but there's also a lot of people out there that just want the game to come out and just to play it. Like at a certain point, we're getting, information fatigue or visual fatigue off a lot of things that we didn't already see. Like I'm never going to complain about seeing a game multiple times, but I'd rather see something else, that you have that I haven't seen other than seeing, Ghost of Yotai for like the 4th time. Now, some people are different. They're going to want to see the deep dive and everything like that they're going to have. That's fine. But, I think that's just the biggest thing for me. And when you walk away from like, showcases, you kind of walk away from like the platform, the big platform of saying, screaming from the rooftops, like, here's our games and here's everything that we have in development, that's releasing in a 3 to 4 year period. It's like they really, and honestly, they probably just don't have anything. SloMo, they canceled most of their first, like outside of Naughty Dog, having the situation that popped up with them where they decided that they wanted to pull back and become a live service studio. A lot of the other studios kind of push forward with that, and they just probably don't have anything. After the restructuring,
they don't have anything. You think they don't have anything ready to be seen?
No. They're definitely working on stuff, but they just don't have after the shift in focus, whatever they were working on, obviously, for a lot of studios, they're not working on that stuff no more. Or if they are working on something like that, it's being reworked into a different framework or something like that. I still think studios like Guerrilla with their Horizon game, I think that's still in the works. I think a lot of stuff is still in the works, but it's just ultimately I feel like the things that we know about just aren't ready to be seen. Like the fact that we know Wolverine is out there because we saw leaked gameplay, and that's the kind of the bad thing about leaks. It puts stuff on your radar that shouldn't be on your radar, and the fact that we saw actual leaked footage of that game moving around and all this stuff back in 2022 or 2021, whenever that was, it's like, it just feels like, why aren't we hearing more about something like that versus the things that we're like consistently hearing about? And once again, it's not about, Ghost of Yotai being shown multiple times. Every studio does that for the most part, or every publisher does that. They show their games to infinity. And some people just want to say, hey, I don't want to watch anything else. I just want to wait for it to come out. It's just the fact that the output from Sony on a lot of the games that a lot of people are like looking forward to, or the things that got them excited as the measuring stick, had just kind of been lackluster. So I don't think the show was bad. It's just not what people are just bored of the format at this point, is I guess the thing I'll say the most.
I think that one, we got Jade Raymond leaving, and Fair Games is MIA. I feel like that game actually should have been out last fiscal year, and it being behind, and then Jade Raymond leaving Haven, like that leaves that game kind of in a lurch. Like we don't know really where that's going, but I feel like part of their strategy seems to not do showcases, but to kind of do what Nintendo does. Nintendo basically has directs. They have a lot of directs, and mostly it's just directs when they have something to show, and then they don't do your annual showcase thing anymore. And I feel like Sony has been trying to go that route, but what if they weren't having so many issues on the live service multiplayer front, you would be seeing like probably not Marathon, considering they've shown so much of Marathon over the past couple of weeks, but then Marathon's got his own issue, so I fully expect that to be delayed. But we should have been seeing fair games right now. We should have been seeing that game, and we should have been getting like some actual gameplay from it, not the teaser trailer stuff that we got a few years ago, and their release date for later this year. Like that would have made more sense. But it's not ready. And so because of the troubles they've been having on the live service front, I do feel like that has disrupted the content, or at least the showing of content to a degree, where you get this discontent where people look at the show and they're like, okay, I see a lot of third party stuff I already know is coming. I already know I'm getting this, or maybe it's not something I'm interested in. And then you have your last game shown is a fighting game, which looked dope as a fighting game. But then you also did the whole let's talk to the devs for like 5 to 10 minutes at the end. Really just like, I mean, you look at like polls, and I don't, this is like all people that's in the hardcore gaming community, so it's not representative of everyone, but a lot of the polls are showing people not happy, giving it a D. You know, out of, you know, the majority is saying it's a D instead of like a C, B, or A, and that discontent, it's warranted. Like some people, they know what they're looking for, and if they don't see it, they're gonna say so. And you got others who may enjoy what was shown, and they're gonna be happy with what's going to happen when these games come out, as well as, you know, the Marvel game and Yotai. I'm ready for Yotai, but you know, it is what it is. Give me a moment, because my boy just hit me up. And I need to give him his Nintendo Switch too. So I'll be back in 5 minutes. Just I'm actually kind of somewhat listening. I'll have my Bluetooth on. I just can't.
Oh no,
my mic is here, so I'll be right back.
Yeah. So I mean, that's the biggest thing for me. You know, the reason. This is the thing. The reason there's such expectations around the Xbox showcase on Sunday is because, well, is it this Sunday or is it next Sunday? I think it's this Sunday. It is this Sunday. But the reason the expectations are around the showcase is because they do it every year. It's like Xbox's big blowout of, you know, things that they talked about last year that's coming out this year. Things that are going to be on the horizon for the next 6 to 7 months, or 6 to 8 months, that you're going to play towards the end of this year to the beginning of next year. With the enormous amount of studios they have, it's just going to be more of like finally getting a chance to see what that merry-go-round of content is going to look like on a month-to-month, quarter-to-quarter basis, even a yearly basis. So that's the thing that people look forward to the most, and they do it technically twice a year. I mean, they do their basically their E3 prep, which is right now, which is the Xbox showcase. They did their June showcase. So they do 2 big shows, and then they do developer directs in between of all that. So I feel like they're just on a really good cadence when it comes to that. They still talk about a lot of the smaller things. They do a lot of content around like the third parties and deals that they're doing like that. But then they have their big showcases that showcase everything. And that's the thing that a lot of people are kind of missing from PlayStation at this moment. I mean, I know I do. It just kind of gets stale after a while, but not to say that it's wrong. It's just more of a observation based on what's kind of been happening just in general with just the community and people's sentiments when it comes to that. So what do you think, B Money? You say you don't think so. We got to get you in here, B Money. You got to come in here, come rap with us. Oh, y'all talking about something else. Let me see. Greg Gravante said people put too much value on the shows. Xbox has had good shows for a decade, but this is the first year that it's actually paid off. No, and that's the thing. So, you know, you kind of just hit it on the head. It's always the carrot. It's always the carrot on the stick. it's like you're always looking for that next thing, and you're always looking for when it's like for Xbox, you were always looking forward to when the faucet was going to be turned to full blast, because it's kind of been this like feeding session of, you know, here's a little here, here's a little there. We're going to raise Game Pass here. We're going to talk about, you know, console exclusivity here, and we're also going to talk about the direction of the platform and how, you know, you don't really need an Xbox, but everything's an Xbox at this point. So that's kind of the overall, you know, point that we are right now, because you're going to have people, it's, you know, we're going into a tangent because we were talking about PlayStation, we're talking about Xbox now, which kind of always happens. You know, the conversation is completely shifted because everybody wished that what Xbox is doing now, that they would have just pushed it off a year to see exactly how a fully functional slate of games that actually you like did good would do for the platform. But they pulled the rug from under that early. And now that's, you know, now we're in the situation we're in now. PlayStation, on the other hand, just has a, you know, they just have to not find their identity. They just got to get back to what made them great in the first place. And I do think they're doing that by, you know, kind of scaling back on live services and stuff like that. They just weren't ready for it. None of their studios were built for it. They tried to turn the faucet on and nothing came out of it but rust. So, and then they went after Bungie, and then we all know with this Bungie thing at this point. But, you know, for the most part, it really comes down. It says B-Money says it might be worse, Forte, because they wouldn't be selling games. No, and that's right. And ultimately, that's why the decision has been made. But I think this is the thing. Gamers, like Xbox gamers in general, I think they would have felt Xbox didn't want to believe that the Xbox supporters in gaming would support the platform enough for them to make that decision, because if they felt like it would happen, they probably would have pushed this off to the side. But the fact that they didn't feel like that would happen, they had to make the decision they made. They had, you know, just spent a record amount of money over the course of like 5 years acquiring studios, buying publishers. You know, that money, that check is due, you know, and when you spend that amount of money, you know, not just the Xbox financial department is looking at it. Now you have Microsoft and Amy Hood looking at it. So a lot of decisions were kind of made off of that. But, you know, but for the most part, like B was saying, it could have been a lot worse. But the thing is, we're at a place now where everybody's always looking forward to even if you're not interested in Xbox, and we know this just off of X and people that make YouTube videos and stuff like that, even when they're bad and they're doing bad, people still pay attention to them because they're always doing something to kind of, it's either going to be great or it's going to be horrible. But they're always going to do a showcase. They're always going to have a direct. They're always going to do these different things to kind of show what the future looks like. Now it just comes down if they actually nail what that future is. And for the longest of times, they failed miserably. You know, Halo coming out the gate looking like it did with Halo Infinite, and Phil Spencer he allowed that to come on stage. That was horrendous. And that is the things that we're talking about. Contrast that to what we had over the course of the last year, I'll say. It's been significantly better. So now the overall feel, the anxiousness of where Xbox is now, and at least in the game front, is a lot positive. More positive than ever. It's just that they wish that the console was still more involved. Where you just take with PlayStation, you just want PlayStation, like, dude, the system is doing great, but you're not talking about the things that people want to see and hear. It's like they're using the fact that people are going to buy the console anyways so we can like talk about the games whenever we want to talk about the games, so they don't feel like there's a sense of urgency to get out there and showcase your games and tell your developers like, hey, I need something from you like in the next 3 months so we can like show people what's going on in the game. You know, going all the way back to 2016 when Bungie didn't have anything for Halo 3. Or it was Halo, for Halo 3, and they literally built something that's not even in the game because Microsoft said, hey, we need something to showcase at our showcase. Now, did that put Bungie in a bind at that time? They didn't even know if they was going to be able to finish the game in time because of putting that together, and they had to crunch for like 3 to 6 months in order to get the game out at that timetable. Absolutely, they did, and no developer should have to go through that. But they made a decision to say, we need to get this out there. The excitement's at an all-time high. Let's get people excited for our IP. And they did it. And guess what? They got paid off of it too. So now we just want to see Sony get back to doing that again, because it just seems like they're being complacent and allowing things that's like the sales of the console, people buying all of their third-party games over there. They're not really hurting for money for the most part. You know, they're in a very, very safe financial place. It just comes back to, I want you to do more like you used to do to get people excited for the things that's coming out in the future. But you're back, SloMo.
Yeah, I'm back. Yeah, my friend is very, very happy gamer right now. Can't wait to get home and
Nintendo gamers are different, bro.
Yeah, you know, he's we'll get to that. We'll talk more about that in a little bit, because that is absolutely a topic. Let's get into these main topics here, and in the first one up, let's discuss this Witcher 4 tech demo, because this man, the conversations I saw out of this, the people who were running out there and then backtracking and then running out there again, it was pretty funny. But yesterday, I believe it was yesterday, maybe was it 2 days ago? Look, I'm old, I can't remember. Sometime this week, CDPR and Epic Games revealed a Witcher 4 tech demo showing off Unreal Engine 5.6. And this was at the State of Unreal conference they do once a year. And as I had mentioned already, it caused a lot of drama. So it was initially stated from the media. Now, whether this was a misunderstanding by a lot of media sources or CDPR kind of doing some tomfoolery, but either or, this was initially stated as footage from media sources of The Witcher 4 running at 60 frames per second with ray tracing on a standard PlayStation 5. And it looked fantastic. It looked great. And many people, you know, fans and media alike, mistook what they thought was a vertical slice of the actual Witcher 4 game running on PS5 as something that it actually wasn't. And so what this actually was is essentially no different than that Lumen demo that Epic created back in 2020, which literally almost nothing on Unreal Engine has looked as impressive as that, you know, 5 years later. But like that kind of thing, or like the Matrix demo that they did, like that's what this basically is. It's a technical showcase.
Yep.
And it's just a simple tech demonstration of what Unreal Engine 5.6 is capable of, which got some people a little out of sorts, because nothing that they saw in that was actual footage from the game The Witcher 4, which could very well still be many, many years out from launch. And whatever they're working, whatever version, because we know that CDPR has switched from the Red Engine to the Unreal Engine. Whatever version of Unreal Engine they are working on right now is not this version.
Right.
Because this version they announced this week, 5.6 is available for developers to now use. But if we understand anything about game development, the version of Unreal Engine that they've been developing the game on right now is not 5.6. And despite everything Epic has said about, we're making it easier to upgrade different versions to get new features, it ain't that easy. From everyone that I know that worked with Unreal Engine, it's not as easy as they try to make it seem. So, all that said, Forte.
Yeah.
Could all of this have been avoided? Like, is there anything that Epic or CDPR could have done to not have this kind of misunderstanding? You let me know. What,
I mean, there's a lot of
did
things
they
you can
mess up here?
Listen, there's a lot of things you can do to like not have misunderstanding. It's called communication. It's called, getting ahead of like press briefings and press releases and stuff, because all of this stuff is like fact checked. It's not used, or at least you're supposed to do that. So
right.
If you're
so you blaming the media? You think the media is at fault for mischaracterizing what this was?
No, because the media took what was given to them, and then they elaborated on what they saw, or what they were given, which we all speculate. Everybody speculates on everything, but I feel like they need what CD Projekt Red needed to do was get out and like in front of it and let people know exactly what it is. Like, everybody always waits for like until the horse's mouth tells you what it is. I ain't gonna believe anything else. But guess what happens also when the horse doesn't say anything? Then speculation runs wild at that point. We also think about this. Do you think this is bad publicity? Do you think that, not even bad publicity, but do you think this is bad for CD Projekt Red and that this
considering their history?
Yeah.
Okay. So as far as I've seen, I haven't seen anything from CDPR that says they said this was our latest vertical slice of The Witcher 4 or anything like that. I've seen nothing of the sort, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I think I'm leaning more towards the side of this is media messing up.
Okay.
Than CDPR or Epic messing up, and maybe simply because their other tech demos weren't featuring an IP that is absolutely about to come out on Unreal Engine in the next few years. Like that Lumen demo was, I mean, they just made up a character and made up a world, right?
Yeah.
The Matrix is like, no one expected the Matrix game. It was just kind of dope to see the Matrix universe in the city and all that stuff, brought into a game and looked really good. The fact that people have been waiting to see The Witcher 4 and then they see this, and I think that's what maybe led to a lot of people essentially just running with, it's The Witcher 4. The Witcher 4 is going to be 60 FPS on the standard PS5 with ray tracing, and it's just like, that's not that's not what they said.
That's not nowhere near what we said, but okay.
So like, I think a lot of people not understanding what a tech demo is versus
I think they understand
what someone's showing off a game, and it's like they even say it at the beginning of the trailer. I think it says like not actual gameplay or something to that effect of like I'll roll the trailer back in a little bit to see, but they had it kind of like lower at the bottom that this is not The Witcher 4, but the fact that like if you look at CDPR's history, we have the 40 minutes of gameplay that we saw, whether it was leaked or not, and I've heard, they didn't intend for that to get out, but it got out, right?
Right.
40 minutes of gameplay for Cyberpunk 2077 that showed in cutscenes, you see your character V. Showed abilities that even today you don't have in the game. Showed a bunch of stuff that never made it to the final product, and that pissed people off.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't necessarily that it pissed people off that it wasn't there, because if it was never intended to be shown, that's not on them.
Right.
But when CDPR leaned in on it, that's where things changed.
Yep.
Where people when they leaned in on it, was like, yeah, we're going to do that. Like they talked up a lot of stuff that ended up not even being in the game.
Yep.
After that. And so that's where you get the final product and it doesn't live up to expectations. You know, there are a lot of people that felt the same way about The Witcher 3, about what they initially showed for The Witcher 3 and the way it looked when it came out. There was a visual downgrade. And so their history kind of leans into some of this, like, jump to be like, you did this, you said that, and now this isn't what we thought it was. And it's just, again, I gotta lean more towards there's some media out there that, like, they didn't go to school for journalism. Right. they didn't go to school for this kind of stuff, and they mischaracterized what it was. But it also, we gotta look at some of the gamers out here that just can't wait to say, look what my platform does that yours doesn't. Mm-hmm. And don't never check to actually see what's what and what's good. The Witcher 4 is gonna look fantastic. It's gonna look great. CDPR, like, I don't want people to mischaracterize what I'm saying here as to think that, like, they ain't them dudes. The problem is that typically at launch, the game isn't what you had hoped it was going to be as far as features, visuals, bugginess, all that. Like, it's got its issues, but they eventually get it to the point where it is a really, really good game to amazing, great game, generation kind of defining game. Mm-hmm. But people thinking you're going to get advanced ray tracing at 60 FPS on Unreal Engine 5.6, which is super CPU heavy. Yeah, that's just not happening, bruh. Like, it's just on a standard PS5, on a standard PS6, absolutely, where this game likely will come out. Like, we're looking at, like, somewhere maybe to, like, 2027, 2028 for a PS6. That's 2 to 3 years from now. Would not surprise me if Witcher 4 doesn't come out until then. And then we're back in that kind of situation that we saw before, remember, where with Cyberpunk, where now this is really going to test CD Projekt's leadership. Because to take you guys back to the beginning of this generation and the end of last generation, we found out that the leadership there really pushed for Cyberpunk to come out 2 years too early, because they wanted to capitalize on last gen gamers and the current gen gamers. They wanted to double dip on both platforms, and they wanted to get those sales, and they got those sales because the game in the first one sold like 13 million units, and the bulk of those were on PlayStation 4s and Xbox Ones and not PS5s and Xbox Series consoles. But that came at a cost. Their reputation.
Yeah. Now
that they might get tested again, where if this doesn't come out until like 2027, but it really kind of needs another, like, say 18 months to really be ready, that's kind of testing them. Are you going to force this on the platform that can't quite handle what you're working with, like you did last time, or are you just going to put it on the platform that can do that and deal with the fact that you're going to initially not have as many sales as you would have enjoyed if it would have came out off, on both platforms? They're going to get tested with that, I think. But Forte, what do you think? When do you think this game will come out, though, Witcher 4? I mean, we have not seen a millisecond of Witcher 4 gameplay. But when do you think that will launch?
Next generation. 2030. No, 2029.
2029.
Yes.
4 years?
Yes. Dude.
Come on, man.
They
4?
Wait, hold on. What did we just talk about earlier when we were talking about Cyberpunk and their new with the new Edgerunner DLC? They ain't even probably in full. They're more likely not even close to even full production working on the next Witcher. Because they're still working on Cyberpunk.
No. They're not working on Cyberpunk.
Well, no, I mean, not right now.
They have a support studio that works on Cyberpunk right now.
Okay.
They have a skeleton crew that is in the concept phase for Cyberpunk 2. Cyberpunk 2 went from the concept phase to pre-production. That was something that we talked about a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
The Witcher 4 is in full-on production. And then there is a Witcher remake that's also in full production. So they've doubled the size of their studio since they released The Witcher 3. They can have two games in development at the same time. Although I do think that, I think they're getting the help from a support studio for Witcher remake, Witcher 1 remake, and it's not as big of a project as Witcher 4 is. That said, they're in production for Witcher 4.
Okay, so if they're in full production for Witcher 4, and they got support studios helping them, then 2027, 2028 at the absolute latest. Early.
Okay, so now that gets back to what I was saying about their leadership, because their own devs were like, we need 2 more years. This game should not come out, Cyberpunk that is, should not come out in 2020. It should come out in 2022. And if they would have did that, imagine. Okay, so in 2022, that's when they released Phantom Liberty.
Yep.
That's when they came out with Cyberpunk 2.0, which really optimized the game. They added in path tracing, I think they did that. I can't remember, but I can't remember how many. They've added so many things since launch, but they revamped the way the skill trees work and made them better. They changed the way the police interact with react to the things you do in the world. They absolutely really made the game so much better in so many different ways, even to the point of fleshing out storylines, fleshing out the origins, adding content and details here and there. They did such an excellent job with it. Imagine if that's how it launched. It would have won Game of the Year in 2020. What came out in 2022? Was that Elden Ring?
Yes, I believe. Yeah,
it would have beat Elden Ring.
Yeah,
in my opinion. Yeah. In my opinion, you release that like that, it beats Elden Ring. But, leadership has to stop being greedy.
They do.
That's the only way that's just going their greed. If you just do it the right way, you will get those sales regardless.
I agree.
That game sold probably about 30 million copies at this point. I don't know how much it sold. I know it's well over 20. It's been over 20 for years. But the amount of people who won't pick Cyberpunk back up because it was a broken, buggy mess at launch, and they have no idea how much better the game is now. Or the amount of people that heard about the issues with the game and just said, "No, I ain't gonna mess with that." And not even going to give it a shot because of the discontent that was there at launch. It's just, sure, the anime helped fix some of those things, and I think sales jumped up 300% when the anime came out. One of the major cross-media successes that are out there. They absolutely revitalized the game, just the same way Hello Games did with No Man's Sky. But there comes a point in time where it's you got to learn. You can't, you don't want to take the lesson that you're magical And I say that as a reference to BioWare, where BioWare would have a mess of a development cycle, but it all came together at the end. And they just said, oh, okay, that's just the way it's supposed to be with us. We're that good. We got that BioWare magic. We could have a disaster of a development for 85% of the development of this game. And that last 15%, we're going to lock in. And we're going to make it work. You just playing Russian roulette. and you just been just so happened to not get the bullet. But eventually BioWare got the bullet. Because you can't keep playing these games like this, and CDPR cannot, like, I don't think they can take another hit to their reputation like that, like they took before. So hopefully,
no, they can't do that again.
Hopefully, with Witcher 4, they take their time and they just make a masterpiece the way people want. Like people will wait for your great game. We see this with GTA 6. People upset. Yeah, man, this has been 2 generations since GTA 5, but I'll wait. Because it's GTA and you're Rockstar. They'll wait for you. You just gotta chill. You're gonna get your money back. Don't worry about it. Just chill. Oh man, anything else you want to say on this one before we move on to your
no, I'm good.
kitty platform?
No, I'm good.
All right. Nintendo Switch. So today was the launch of the Nintendo Switch. Shout out to my homie who just got his. I just handed him his. I had an invite from Nintendo to get one. I think they just saw all my hours in Fire Emblem and said, yeah, let's get him a Switch. Let's get him a Switch too, because this guy loves his Fire Emblem. But they ain't got a new Fire Emblem, so I don't want it. So yeah, there's that. But a lot of people.
Nothing. Never mind. Go ahead.
Another one of my friends, as far as availability goes, it seems like there are definitely, at least in the United States, Nintendo delivered on inventory. You know, take notes, Nvidia, because this is how you supply your product to the market. Okay, everyone that I know of that was looking to get a Switch 2, as of now, has one, and I'm sure, like, yeah, that's anecdotal. That's not, you know, the entire country or the entire world, but I think that is, you know, at least from my perspective, I see that as definitely a W. But my friend walked into a Best Buy at 11:30 today, got himself a Switch 2.
Mm-hmm.
He said they had about 150 units for walk-ins.
Mm-hmm.
And then they had them in a different section than the pre-order people section. And so, but they were only allowing one person to get them, like, per purchase. So he went on home, talked to his wife, and his wife went right up to Best Buy and got another one. So their sons both have Nintendo Switch 2s.
Nice.
And I know a few people that went at the Target and got themselves one too. So I'm happy that everyone is getting what they're looking for. I hope they enjoy it. That said, actually, Forte, tell me about your day, because I know you got a lot to talk about. Because there's some things I want to discuss about this launch, but I want to hear your perspective on the launch first.
Okay, so first of all, the launch was crazy. I want to say starting ever since probably Monday. No, actually going back to last week, but really started on Monday with everybody. You know, GameStop put out their press release about, you know, if you're trying to get one, 3 p.m. midnight launches and stuff. So it's kind of been crazy ever since that has happened, and people wanted to get clarification exactly on how it would work. And at that point, I still didn't know what like when they say extras, we didn't know what extras meant. Like extras could have been 10 systems. They didn't know what it could be. Then I found out what it was, and I'm gonna tell you this: a lot of people talk about and this is like kind of the contrasting thing I was going to say about Switch versus Switch 2. My Nintendo rep Jesse, you know, shout out to him. We were talking. He asked me, like, he said, "How big of a?" He said, "What do you think this launch is going to be?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" He said, "What do you think is going to be one of the biggest launches of, you know, all time?" And I was like, "I guess it depends on." I said, "It depends on what we're kind of looking at." And then I said, "I don't think so." Because I was thinking back to like Xbox One, PS4, you know, Xbox 360, PS2 was a really big one. But then but now I'm gonna tell you this, no lie, after experiencing the last 2 days, well, today and yesterday, I will say this is the biggest launch of a console I think I've ever been a part of. Mostly due to the fact that if you just think about the Switch this first Switch launch, it was coming off of a system that failed. Like, no bones about it. Nintendo cut the cord on the Wii U and said, we're starting over. Like, that thing released in, I think it was like 2011, 2012. It was out the door. Actually released in 2013, the year before I think it was like a little bit earlier than Xbox One and PS4 came out. But that thing only had 4 years on the shelf and they pulled the trigger on it. And thank God they did, because who knows where they would be at this point. But when you think about the Switch launch, I remember having most stores, no more than 70 systems, no more than 70. Like even big box stores, no more than like 100, 110, something like that. I had people that worked at Best Buy and, you know, other places like that I used to talk to about it. They didn't have a lot of them. It was still a good amount. Like they had a really good launch, especially for a system that came off of like what happened with the Wii U. This was different. Like we did, like, you know, I'll just talk about mine. We took 50 pre-orders on Switch 2 on the initial day. 50. That's what we had.
Okay.
And, dog, that got blown away when it came to when they, like, I wasn't expecting the number that we got for walk-ins. Like when you just said, how much was your Best Buy for just walk-ins? 100.
They had 150 units for walk-ins.
Dog, that's crazy. Like we were close to that. We ain't had that many for walk-ins. We were in the we were real close to that number just at one store. Like a whole, and we're talking about across the whole company and stuff, for the whole country. The fact that Nintendo showed up and put out this much hardware, like people thought, like it was anarchy for the last week for people like, oh, I got to get a Switch 2. I got to do this. I got to do that. And like you said, your friend literally walked into, dog, I watched a video, like, you know, I do my Pokemon stuff. I was watching a video of somebody talking about Pokemon and he just talked about his day. He said, I really want to Switch 2. He said he woke up this morning, went to go cut his hair. He got his hair cut. And he said, you know what? I'm just about to walk into Myers. He walked into Myers and they had one Switch bundle left, a Mario Kart bundle. It was like 3:00 in the afternoon. So you telling me in a normal console cycle with hype and everything, even when a hype is at the absolute highest, you ain't gonna walk into a brick and mortar store halfway through the day and find a brand new system that just released that day. It just doesn't happen. But that's what's happening now. There's stores out there that still have Switch 2s to this day. To like right now, when I left work, there were stores that still had them. It is not because they're not selling. It's because Nintendo was
really delivered on inventory.
The inventory is incredible. Like this is truly the first launch where I felt like if you want a Switch, you can get a Switch. You can get the console if you really want it. So just to talk about the midnight for a second, we started at 3. I ended up doing 79 people in my line. Like we did numbers. And shout out to, I was talking to Addict, I was talking to Cognito, because they was in, their different places, getting their systems and everything. And the message was the same from all of them. Like, I talked to Saul because I got Saul's at my store. I shipped it to him today. He ended up getting a W at the store by him because he got up there at 3:00. He said it was in the borough and there was like 4 or 5 different stores around them. And every store had like 100 to 200 people in line getting their Switch 2. And he was like, it was crazy. I was at my store until 2 a.m. last night. 2 a.m. I haven't been in my store for a midnight launch past 12:30 in like 5-6 years. 12:30, I'm normally gone. The store is locked up. I'm at the house. I'm playing whatever game came out, or even whatever. I'm hooking the console up that night. I'm already done. Even when the PS5 and the Xbox One Series X came out, I was home by 12:30. I gave those systems out. We were done. I was in my store to 2:00 in the morning. I didn't have to turn around and be back at 11. And guess what, SloMo? When I walked to my door in the morning, I had 30-something people outside my door to pick up the ones that got pre-ordered that didn't want to. Like, people literally came. They said, I said, why did you come last night? They said, what time did y'all get out? I was like 2:00 in the morning. They said, man, I rode by your store. I saw all those cars in that parking lot and I just kept driving. I'll be there tomorrow. I was like, and that's what all those people in line was like. They said, yeah, we was gonna come last night, but you had a line full of people. And that's what Nintendo did. And guess what? And what did I tell you? We talked about the price of the system. We talked about the price of the games going up. We talked about Joy-Cons being $95 for a pair, a Pro controller being $85. And guess what I said? What did I say on that podcast? And guess what? All of it's gonna sell, because it's all gonna sell no matter what. And it's still selling, and it's not even FOMO at this point. Like, you could just wake up tomorrow, probably most likely go to Target and find a Switch 2 if you want it. So that's been my experience just from the retail side of it. And I've been watching people on X, get their W's and posting and stuff. And I know some of you guys in the chat probably got one too. So congratulations to you. But Nintendo really showed up on this one, man. You really can't say anything but great things about it. They had a plan in place.
I can say some things.
Well, you can say
some things that's not so great.
Well, okay, well, go ahead, SloMo.
Okay, let me ask you a question, Forte. Let me ask you a question.
Yeah, what's up?
So you label the boxes for people's numbers, right?
Oh, no. We talk about Reddit here. Okay, yeah. Let's get it. Get into this.
So for your stores, did you guys happen to staple any of those numbers to the boxes? Did you guys do any stapling?
Well, listen, I'll tell you what we did. We did a two receipt thing. Everybody that came at 3:00 got 2 receipts. Well, they got one. They got the receipt with their number on it, and then they got another receipt that we took the number that they were, plus we took their serial number and we stapled it to the extra receipt. And then we took that receipt in the back, and with the Switches, they have like the little cardboard insert, so you can literally just slide the receipt inside the between.
Okay, so you didn't staple that to the box.
No, and I woke up this morning. And listen, I woke up this morning and went to work, and my other 3 associates was with me. And I can't give like an official statement on this because I work for the company. I'm not trying to get for that. I'm just telling you that now. Not giving an official statement on that. All I will say is this: I woke up, I went to work. One of my associates was like, "Dog, did you look at Reddit today?" I was like, "No." She said, "Oh boy, something happened at a GameStop, and they were stapling receipts to Switch boxes, and they punctured the screen with the staples. And I was like, no effing way. Then she shows me the Reddit post with a whole bunch of people. And then she was like, and the bad thing is it was over 100 switches, like every switch that they did at the store. And I was like, oh my God. I said, she was like, no, this DM is, she was like, this DM is having the worst day ever. I was like, what is the logistics on that? What's the logistics on that? Like, I don't even know what you do. I don't know.
Well, you have to.
Well, I know what
GameStop has got to eat it. They're gonna have to eat it because it's not the customers got to get their product, so they're gonna have to take it back from the customer and provide them a Switch that hasn't been stapled.
Okay, so this is the thing. So I was talking to my associates about this, and because you're right, no matter what, the customers are going to get taken care of. I believe that 100%. It's not their fault.
And GameStop's going to now look. If I was GameStop, I'm gonna have some words for Nintendo. Like, first question is, have you ever packaged a handheld before? I know you have. So why would you have such a thin layer of protection from box to unit, where a staple can puncture the box, the plastic, and the screen?
Okay.
How many times?
Matter of fact,
hold on.
I just want you to say, my kids, my family's upstairs screaming if you hear them, because I guess Mario Kart's installed, so they're playing that right now, because I hear them screaming about racing around the track.
Okay.
Well, go ahead.
So now look, I have bought the Logitech G Cloud. I've had Steam Deck in the past.
Yep.
And the way they are packaged, there is no way that a stapler stapled anywhere on the box would damage the actual device.
Right.
Why the heck would you have the screen literally pressing up against the box?
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, stupid GameStop employee, why are you stapling the box? What if someone just wants a nice, pristine box and you're just sticking staple holes in it? You should have did that in the first place.
The views and impressions of SloMoBackSlap does not represent Gaming Forte and
oh no, but we can talk about it. We can this because I'm like, what the freak are you doing? Nintendo, you have released you are the handheld company. You telling me you don't know how to package a device where the device isn't easily damaged before it even gets to the customer?
Well, Slomo,
they gotta own some of that.
When did the Switch come out?
The original one?
2017, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever heard a story of staples being put through a box and being punctured through the top over the course of 9 years?
You know what? I still have my Switch OLED box.
I do too.
I could go grab it right now. I'm fairly certain the screen for the OLED wasn't pressing up against the side of the box.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
It is. It definitely is.
I'm literally about to go grab it right now.
Definitely. It's packaged the same way.
It is one room away. I'm grabbing that box.
Yeah.
Hold on.
Yeah, go grab it. Slomo don't know that box is literally the same. The Switch is literally sitting right. The OLED and the version 1 and version 2, the screen is right there. Like, as soon as you take the top up, the screen is there.
Okay, I'm trying to open it. I don't even remember how. Okay,
Slomo don't need to open the box. You gonna open that box and see a surprise. Hello,
okay,
Slomo.
Hold on.
Hello, Slomo. Here I am, right here on the top. Nothing to block it.
Wow.
It's right there. It's always been right there.
You are correct.
It's always been right there, bro. So as much as now, this is the thing. As much as
okay, hold on.
Okay.
The door for this
on
the Switch OLED is pretty thick.
Is it thicker than the original one? Like that much thicker? I don't have my Switch
I don't-
OLED box
I don't
anymore
have
because I
the-
got rid of it.
I don't have the box for the original one, but this is like, it's not like super, but this, if I stapled this, I ain't gonna go grab the stapler I got. It's upstairs. But if I stapled this, I don't think it's puncturing past. This is some pretty thick cardboard. This is some Labo cardboard.
Is what you say? It's some
So-
Labo?
This is some Labo stuff.
Shout out to Lexi. Lexi's in the chat. She's I posted this in our Discord. She's one of my key holders at the store. She said it's packaged the same exact way. Y'all should see how the Switch litters are literally are packaged. The Switch lights are packaged even worse. Yeah, those things. Now, this is the thing. A Switch light, they put so much protection around a Switch light. It's got like cardboard all the way around it. Like it's slid into a slot because it's in like a smaller box. Yeah, if you think about
but how about this?
Yeah, a Switch light is packaged even crazier.
Now, I wish I could show this, but so like it is up at the top, which I think is dumb. But still, they've been doing this for years. You're right. But why don't you just have the screen face down? Like, why is have the screen not facing
because Gentle Sound's aesthetic, because of the unboxing experience. When you opened up the box first, like I ain't gonna lie, when I opened my box for my Switch 2 today, and the first thing you see is that giant screen, it's beautiful, bro. Now, could they have, this is the thing they could they have put an indent where it's lowered in the case a little bit and you use bubble wrap? But the thing is, they want you to see the screen. They don't expect somebody to put a stapler. They don't expect that to happen, man. That is guess what? iPhone, like if you think about it, iPhones, if you look at the way that if you look at your iPhone case, you got Android or you're Android, aren't you?
I have both.
You have both. But if you look at your iPhone case, all the padding for the iPhone is at the bottom. But if you look at the when you pull the top off of it, that part is real thin. Like it's thin as heck at the top because the phone is sitting right there at the top. Because they want the experience of you opening up the case to be like, dang, my phone is right there. It is beautiful. So it's more about the experience of that.
The top of the box for the Switch OLED is fairly thick. I don't have my stapler right now, but even if I stapled with some force, I don't think I'm puncturing the screen that's under this. And so I just think they may potentially just skimp on the box. I watched my boy open up like a little kid at Christmas when I handed him the Switch 2 a few minutes ago. He opened that thing up and he was just giddy, and he opened the thing, and right there the screen was just right there. And I'm thinking to myself, just thinking like I'm like, that screen gonna be right there, right in front of him because of everything that's gone on today, and it was fine, but I think if you kind of package things in a not so safe way, you allow these kind of situations to happen where a retailer can be careless and then end up damaging like over 100 units. It's just that's not on Nintendo. That's just something that happened. Now the question is so I'm gonna ask you the question that I asked. Matter of fact, I asked Lexi the same exact question that's in the chat while we was at work. I said, would you rather, because there's two ways this could happen. They're going to get replaced no matter what. Now it's launch day for your Switch. Are you going to want them to take your Switch back and then you have to wait? Because you ain't going to get another Switch right away. No, it's going to be a few weeks.
It's going to be a few weeks.
At least.
Do you want them to do you want the company to tell you like, hey, keep the Switch, enjoy it, and then once we get the restock back in, we're going to replace all of these Switches at that store, but enjoy it because it obviously it's damaged, but it wasn't damaged to the point where people couldn't play it. So you can still play it, and then they'll just replace them when they get them. Or do you think they should just take them all and people not have it, and then just wait till you get a restock to get, your switched in? Which way would you rather it be?
I would rather GameStop provide me an unstapled unit and I go about my day.
I know that, but in this circumstance, we can't. Well, you know what?
Give me an unstapled Switch, please.
I wouldn't be, but this is the thing, though. I wouldn't be surprised with the amount of Switches that were out there that I don't know. This is all speculation. They could have sourced all the stores in the area for all their extra Switches that they didn't sell at the midnight and kind of brought them all together. And there's a lot of stores in New York. So, I mean, you get about 5 or 6 or 7, maybe 10 stores all together in a 15 to 20 mile radius. You probably got enough Switches to cover all the ones at that store. So that could have happened too. I mean, I haven't seen any updates on because GameStop hasn't said anything, and I haven't seen anybody on X or anything talk about they got a replacement. So that's kind of where I'm at with it. It sucks. It's supposed, like I said, we had an amazing time. It was draining emotionally, but my customers had fun, even knowing it was a wait. Like I said, we started giving them out at 12 o'clock. We weren't done handing systems out till like 1:15, 1:20 in the morning. That's how long we were doing it. But the experience was fun, and unfortunately for those people at that store at that time, it kind of got ruined for them. So it's going to get taken care of no matter what. I have faith in that. But yeah,
agreed.
Never use staples on electronics when you're putting I don't even remember. I don't even know why you even think about doing that.
I advocate for SloMo's eventual Switch to have staples in them. I'm praying that this happens to him.
Oh Lord,
wow, this is really mean, man.
Bro, I have good experience.
well, welcome. Slanderous Infinite Umbra to the DPS podcast. First time here. First thing he does come here is hope that my eventual Switch 2 is damaged before I even get my hands on it. I appreciate it.
That would be it would be such karmic justice for the slander you have been given to Unreal Engine. It's
not slander.
It would be complete. It would complete the circle if this happened.
It's not slander if it's true, because Unreal Engine is Unreal trash. It's okay.
See, we're
not gonna do this.
You see this?
We're not gonna do this. We're not gonna do this. We can talk about this later. I have another nitpick with Nintendo right now. And this is an even bigger one to get the smaller one out of the way, because it's really not really their fault. It's kind of the fault of some unfortunate GameStop associate. But let me get into this other one.
Go ahead.
Did you notice the lack of reviews for the Nintendo Switch 2 this week?
Yeah, I know why. You know why? I know why.
Because they didn't give any review units until the day of. And look, when we see this with games, we know what that means. You trying to avoid something.
Well,
I don't know exactly what you're trying to avoid, but you're trying to avoid something. And I've seen a lot of people complaining of software issues or some things like that. And I saw Nintendo's statement when asked about it. Their statement said, let me go find it here, that their reasoning is that it was, quote, important features and updates, unquote, will only be available via system update on the day of the console's official release.
Because the system was
Forte,
bricked before the
Forte,
go ahead.
You know how GPUs release and they give a review unit of a GPU to a tech tuber, and the firmware update for that isn't officially out yet, but they somehow supply firmware updates specifically to those reviewers so they can do their job. You know how when someone reviews a game and they say, hey, look, some features are going to get updated on the day one patch. Could you, if you're going to talk about it not working quite right, just make sure you make a note of that in your review, that's actively being worked on. Or as we see some reviewers do, they just don't bring that stuff up. You know, this is what professionals, reviewers do. Apple releases an iPhone every year.
Every year.
And we get reviews of that before it comes out.
We do.
Everybody gives review units before it comes out, except apparently Nintendo. Nintendo don't need to give review units. No, everyone's going to buy it anyway. So what do you need review units for? Well, because you're not special, Nintendo. Like, that excuse they gave was complete bunk. It was nonsense, because we see you aren't the first person that's needs a day one update for your hardware to iron some kinks out, to cross some T's, dot some I's. You ain't special.
Yeah.
So that was nonsense. And I ain't like seeing people out here making excuses for it. Oh, well, they're Nintendo. And
But they are Nintendo.
And
oh no.
And
no, I agree. I agree. But we gave them the power to do this. Listen, everybody else.
Who is we?
The fans, the millions of people that were out trying to get a Switch, not even trying to get a Switch, getting a Switch today. Those people, they are the reason that this didn't happen. I always told people this is ultimately going to come down to what you allowed Nintendo to do. Nintendo basically said, you're right. Every other company does, some type of feature where they unlock it for people that's doing reviews so they can still do the hardware. Nintendo is
it's very easy to do that. I work in tech. It's not hard to do that. Nintendo just didn't want to. And you know what? I'm gonna give you an example.
Well, before you give me the example, because I want to hear your example before you give it. But this is what I want to ask you before you do it. How many reviews, because the reviews are going to be late because the day one patch did come out today, so people can't officially
because Nintendo didn't give them review units to today. Let's say it accurately.
That too. Well, even if you got a review unit, you can't review it until today because the system wasn't even going to allow you to do the all you can see is
Forte.
The
they can get a patch for that though.
They could have allowed that.
No, listen, I know. Listen, I know that. Good God, I'm talking to you two.
Why are you repeating their talking points?
No, listen,
you repeat. It's just a brick.
I'm talking about what is actually happening right now. As of right now, there was no day one patch. So all I was saying is the reviews are going to be late because Nintendo didn't provide review units and they didn't provide a patch to allow people to actually bypass it to try it out earlier. The question I was going to ask is, do you even think the reviews are even going to mention that this happened?
That they didn't get the review units until I think they will. I think they'll start off their reviews saying, sorry, this review is late. Nintendo didn't give me a review unit to give you a review until the release of the console.
When we say mention it, we have seen reviewers in every industry knock something because they got it late and they felt like they were hiding something. Oh no. I don't think people are going to do that. I think I'm talking about I'm not talking about the people who just want a free console. They whine on social media about not getting something that they want, but it's really they just want it for free and they don't want to pay for it. I'm talking about people like sources like Digital Foundry,
The Fox, the Fox is like really good with handhelds. He definitely should have got one a week ago, so he could do testing and like he has some very good data already. You know, outside his review's not out yet because he didn't get a review unit in time. But like he's been out just tweeting and posting some good things about like the battery seems to be pretty good so far. Like he was saying like after an hour he only lost like 33% of the battery. I thought that was pretty nice for like the kind of game that he was playing. You know, little things like that. But it's just
even the Marcus Brownlee, you could argue.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Freaking Marcus Brownlee with like 20 million subs didn't get one.
I know.
But now Marcus Brownlee will come for your neck when you're not doing something right. And he got the juice to do it. He could kill a product if he say it's bad. Which is why I think Nintendo did this. I think they had some things they needed to iron out. They were a little worried about it, worried it was coming in a little hot. And they said, let's just avoid any potential bad reviews about some of these issues by just not even allowing them to have it. And I just don't think that's fair to the consumer.
It's not
and I'm gonna say this thing and then I want to hear what Umber has to say. That we found out, like, they bragged about how this screen was an HDR screen. Forte, you know how many nits the screen does?
Here we go. What, 800, 700?
No,
don't say
a
like
real
400.
HDR screen would do 800. This screen does between 400 to 450 nits.
Yeah, it's pretty poor.
That's not real HDR.
HDR, yeah. I was talking to
that's enough nits to get a game to say, I think you have HDR. You want to turn that on?
Well, you can put it on your box. You can put it on your box.
Yeah,
450.
Right. We see monitors out here that will put HDR on the box and say it has a HDR display, but it really ain't. And that's not what you buy it for. You buy it for the low refresh rate. Yeah, I mean the high refresh rate. You don't buy it for the whack HDR. This screen, 400 nits. That's not, minimum 800 to say you got real HDR. That's not close. Now, wouldn't someone who was like, oh man, I really want an OLED screen, but at least the screen got HDR. I'll just buy this unit. Wouldn't they want to know that information?
Yeah.
Potentially a week ago?
Absolutely.
So they can make a more informed decision on the product they're going to buy?
I would love to.
That's all I'm saying. Like, allow people to make informed decisions. Umbra, what are your thoughts?
We came to find is like, I don't even care about Nintendo doing it because it's for business, right? We get that. They're going to do what they do. What I don't care for are people making excuses. Us as the consumer are making excuses like, well, they don't have to because they're Nintendo. And this is not directed towards you, Forte. You are a great host, by the way. Thank you all for having me. I forgot to say that.
Although the chat does think you might have a Joy-Con up your, the way you talking right now. But just go ahead.
Gregor did say that you were being paid Pokemon plushies under the table, though, Forte. I just wanted to highlight that.
I mean, listen, I'll take them.
But
I take a wall of plushies.
But my thing is like I feel like if we shouldn't make excuses for it when it comes to this. And if this had been Xbox or PlayStation, especially Xbox, we all know they would have been torn to shreds without getting some review copies out there of the console for people to see what's what. And it's for me, it's about the consumer at the end of the day. I'm not ever arguing for the company in these examples. I can understand the company's situation, but I'm never going to be like, well, they blah, blah, blah. No, what about me? What about us? And these things like this, to SloMo's point, we need to know these things. And some people are like, well, I trust them because of the confidence of whatever. And I had to point out to some people, I said, well, I have trust with Xbox and their hardware. And I trusted them before the 360. And I had 7 red rings of death, should I say, right? So that doesn't mean anything. It's not just because, well, Nintendo blah, blah, does this and they have great examples of the hardware. Everybody can fail. Nothing is perfect. There are things that can be wrong with the with whatever they're doing with technology. So nothing is fail proof. So I feel like having that out there where people can give you better information of what you're purchasing as a consumer should always be the standard, even if you feel very confident in whoever you're buying something from. That's just where I stand at it. I'm not super hardcore about it. I'm not going to argue with anybody to the death, but I just feel like we shouldn't, as consumers, argue for the company in this specific regard. No, they should be scrutinized so we can see what's what. And now you're hearing a few things. So we were talking to Kay earlier in the GCP chat and things like that, and he was pointing out a few things he likes, a few things he doesn't. He showed the screen looks really good. It's an LCD screen or whatever, LED screen. It's LCD, right? Yeah, LCD. And it does look vibrant. It looks really good. He compared it to an OLED screen of the Odin 2 Portal. It's bigger. He doesn't like the bezels. The bezels are problematic still. He does not like, and he showed us too, and it does look terrible, the R2 buttons and such, the shoulder buttons, should I say. They're more like buttons instead of actual contextual, I guess shoulder buttons that you would get on a controller, typically like an Xbox.
Yeah. That's what the Pro Controller's for, but I understand what you're saying.
Yep. So they have that issue too. The stand for it is much better than the first Switch's stand.
It's a stand. That's why.
Yeah. Because the one they had on the original Switch was a toothpick. You stick this little toothpick out, and you hope it doesn't break when you let go of it on the table. And it broke. Long story short. But they actually have a real stand, which are like, these are like, they're learning with people when you make a hybrid. And it's not just a handheld, and now you got to make like you've merged your console and hybrid markets into one device. You can't lean too far on one side or the other. You need to make sure that you are handling the concerns and the wants and needs of both sides. And so when people are like, "Bruh, can I get a daggone Ethernet port on this dock?" Like that these little oversights with the original Switch is just like, you would think no brainers, but for them they were just like, "Oh, you want that? Oh, that's the thing, they want that." Like, it's just a
lot of the impressions coming back too are saying, I know maybe Nintendo wanted to avoid the thought of this being just a Switch Pro, because that's the feedback. The feedback is this is just a Switch 1. or 1.5. That's what I'm hearing. Even Kay himself literally called it the Pro. He's saying it's not really a next step up in what it should be. So I wonder if they wanted to avoid any thoughts of that too. We still know that like it can max output of frames per second is 40 frames, things of that nature. So maybe they wanted to kind of hold off on people having too much judgment of that. They wanted to hold off on people getting a hold of it and hacking it, but that's already been cracked, by the way. Unfortunately, somebody is already.
That was guaranteed to happen. Yeah. I mean, but I mean, like, I don't know about max 40 frames. That sounds like, I mean, for certain games, but like, I think they set the screen on it like in the handheld mode. Like, I think that's 120 hertz screen. So I think you should, depending on the game, you should be able to get higher frame rates depending on the game. And I did see some people showing gameplay of games that ran like awful on the Switch 1, and they run a lot better on the Switch 2, and it's mostly due to the fact that like the frame rate of the game, when the developer created it, they kept the frame rate unlocked. And so it being unlocked allows the hardware to kind of just brute force better performance with the Switch 2, considering it's got, a much better APU in there. Yeah. I mean, I don't have one, so I can't speak on it. Forte does. I know you haven't got one. Yeah, I don't know. Did you get one?
Mine should be. I'm trying to get Kay, because Kay picked it for me, whether I paid him the money for it, but he's heading out of town. And he may not have gotten it before he could send it to me, so I'll probably have to wait until next week, unfortunately, to get mine. But
okay. Well, you can go to a Target and get one if you want, or GameStop. The way it seems like availability is out there. But Well, one of the days that like I haven't really like, cause like for me, only thing I'll play on is Fire Emblem, and I would love to see, you know, cause like Fire Emblem, when you for Three Houses, when you're in the cathedral, the school, the frame rate is like it's fighting. It's not even 30. It's fighting to get in the stay in the 20s. It's so bad, and so I would love to be able to play that one day where it's just smooth, and I'm not thinking about, oh my god, this frame rate, you know, like
my wife called me. I'll be right back.
Oh, no problem. And so that can be.
SloMo.
I'm not. No. I'm not. New Fire Emblem. When they deliver a new Fire Emblem, SloMo will buy one. Until then, you know, like this is incentive. Even if they don't care what I buy or not, but this is incentive on them to deliver me the goods. But no, I think I saw some. I thought it would look like someone tried to put up some Cyberpunk gameplay that wasn't actually Cyberpunk running on the Switch 2, and then other people have debunked that by showing their a lot of people have shown their own Switch 2 gameplay of Cyberpunk, and it's running way better than what we saw. Now that one, you know, on handheld runs at,
what was it, 1080p?
Ah man, I can't remember. I think docked it runs 1080p. I have to look it up. I forgot. I don't want to say anything out of turn, but it looked better. It definitely wasn't running at like 6 frames a second like in that video that went viral. But I think that you know, it's just not. I don't need it yet, but I'm glad people are getting it and enjoying it. I just like to see some balanced coverage of it from media sources. I don't like Nintendo kind of stifling that in order to make sure that people don't get the full story before they pick it up. You know, it may very well be that with the poor HDR and with some software hiccups, because I saw some people trying to run Mario Kart World and it was having an issue, like there was some kind of software issue, like it wouldn't run it, you know, for some people. And you know, first day of launch, things are going to happen. Like, allow the consumers to just be consumers and pick and choose whether that's going to be a problem for them or not.
I agree.
I don't like hiding that.
Yeah, if you're Nintendo at this point and you're known for delivering quality products and games and things of that nature, I feel like it behooves you to offer, you know, those things out freely, to say, hey, check our work, right? Because you don't have much to be worried about, because we are that confident in what we put out to you. You know, that's the way I look at that. I look at also how, you know, I just look at the past, and the precedent, I think, is set. We had it for a long time where these things are put out there, to your point, you know, that people should be able to. It is Soil Tech, yes. Yeah, but it feels like, you know, give people a chance to test these things out so we can see where we stand. By the way, I looked it up, and so for performance mode for Cyberpunk, it's 40 frames per second at 720p, and quality mode 30 frames per second at 1080p in handheld mode, and docked it is 1080p 40 and 30 quality with 1080p. So
okay,
yeah, not that horrible.
I mean, it's
not that horrible.
It's not. Yeah. I mean, the previous hardware couldn't even run it, period. And then this is you know, it's not preferred performance, you know. And I now a new owner of a Steam Deck OLED that will be coming in soon. Will be able to play with settings and get better performance. But you know, like not everyone has the same standards of performance. That's certainly fine for.
That's true.
For
you
for
probably
some
get about
people.
48 frames per second, I think, with the Steam OLED, right? 48, maybe 50. Because yeah, you'll get better for sure.
I'm probably not gonna be playing Cyberpunk on this thing if that's the best we can do.
I was gonna say, might want to get on your PC.
Yeah, I may just stick to the PC on that. Or I mean, look, I could always play. You could play Cyberpunk through GeForce Now, and get you, because well, like this, I haven't done it yet, but this is what I normally do with GeForce Now. I'm going on vacation last week of this month, and I always bring some kind of device. Usually it's been my laptop I bring with me, and I get on GeForce Now and I play games when I have the time to. Now, and stop lying, Flood. The 48 does not do 15 FPS in Cyberpunk. Now I got the Steam Deck OLED. I'm going to be playing that whenever I have the free time to do so. But using GeForce Now, I'm on the free tier all year long until I really need it. And then I upgrade to like the ultimate tier. That's like $20 a month. So I just pay $20 for the time, maybe the week or week and a half I'm on vacation, and I'm actually going to use it. And then I get access to the 4080 in the cloud. And then I have access to like play. So I'll get the 60 FPS with ray tracing on path. I could go path tracing if I want to. Nice. Turn on frame gen and have a ball, especially considering the screen is like 800p. So I could just like lower the resolution to that, pump up the settings, and because I'm streaming it through GeForce Now, it's no problem. But
it's gonna look insane.
That's probably the way I end up going to it.
Yeah.
Say what?
It's going to look insane at performance wise and everything.
Right, with the smaller screen.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I can imagine it now. Yeah. I can see it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I still have to test out my rig because I got the 4080 Super, and it does not run at 15 frames per second, Flood. But I haven't.
Yet. These AMD haters in the chat, they
call Lisa Sue on you.
He needs his binky. Anyway, let me get you going. So we can transition on to the last topic of the night, which is what I like to call the Microsoft Gaming Multi-Platform Showcase. Because that's what it is, right? It's Microsoft, the company.
Yeah.
Microsoft Gaming, because that's what they're going to be calling themselves soon instead of Xbox. Microsoft Gaming, multi-platform, because every game that's going to be shown is going to be on every platform. So it's multi-platform showcase. I think that's an excellent name for it. What's up, Forte?
Microsoft
you are
Gaming
back.
Multi-platform. Let me see, MGMP, Microsoft Gaming multi-platform
showcase.
Showcase. So
is this your own made up name, SloMo?
No. That's the name of the showcase that's coming on Sunday.
Did they actually call it the multiplayer Meta gaming showcase? Whatever. That don't even make sense.
No. The Microsoft Gaming multi-platform showcase, because you want to get. Clearly, they're killing the Xbox brand, so you don't want to use the word Xbox.
This is why there's no fan fest, y'all. This is literally why there's no fan fest this year. Because if they named the showcase that's why.
That they didn't name the showcase that. I named the showcase that because that's what it is. But we're gonna get into it. Xbox Showcase is this Sunday, and for those who aren't aware, the Iron Lord, shout out to the Iron Lords podcast. They're going off to LA, I guess. Somewhere they're doing a fan fest, a community-led fan fest. They're going to be out there rubbing elbows with all the stinky people that don't take baths. And you see them, you're like, ooh, but they're going to be doing all that good stuff or bad stuff, depending on your perspective. And Forte is going to be hosting the live reaction of the showcase on the Iron Lords channel while we dual stream that on the DPS channel, and it's going to be both at the same time. I don't know how well this is going to go. I'm imagining it's going to go off swell. We'll see. I don't know if we're going to have any technical difficulties, but considering Forte is hosting part of it, you know how that's going to go.
Damn, nope.
Forte use. I'm just.
His faith in you is just unshakable.
Right. I just.
Just like that Switch 2 that he needs to go ahead and buy because that Fire Emblem.
Wow, you threatening me? He's like, I'm not gonna help you get us. Look. Anyway, look.
It would be a shame if you don't get a chance to get that Fire Emblem.
Right, up to 200 episodes. Forte. Hold on.
You might want to get a Switch 2 before they decide to put a staple through yours by accident.
Why? You threatening my devices because I'm telling the truth. Forte, for 200 episodes of DPS podcast, you hosted half of them. Mm-hmm. How many technical difficulties and audio issues do we have throughout all that?
A lot, but we had 2 in the last 30 episodes.
1 in the last 30 episodes. I don't know where 2 come from.
Okay,
it was 1. But,
okay,
but
1.
But what I'm saying is
what
that
I always say about one mistake is 1 too many.
Okay. So. What would you call
you can't sit on
75 episodes of mistakes where you were hosting?
Consistency.
You know consistently bad is what you're saying. Okay, look, we just want
consistency.
we're gonna move on. That's what's going on. So tune in this Sunday, either on this channel, on the Iron Lord's channel. Doesn't matter. You'll be able to still listen to the same people reacting to the same show on either one. It's going to be a great time. We're going to have a good time. But that said, Xbox Showcase, I have some thoughts, some questions for you guys that we can kind of get into. To kind of like later stage, we know it's supposed to be a 90-minute showcase, correct? It's 90 minutes.
That sounds about right. Going by the past, I would say about 90 minutes.
Okay. Yeah. With a more focused showcase for the Outer Worlds 2 that's coming out later this year. Excited for that because I like that the first one. And so we know that for a fact, but everything else seems to be somewhat up in the air. So this is what I want to do. And Forte, I want you to go first here with this. What's the thing that you expect to see the most from the showcase?
The most?
If you had to rank what you expect to see from the showcase, what's number 1 on the list?
Oh, Halo.
Really?
Yep. Because I
you
think
expect to see Halo.
I do.
Okay.
I think I expect to see Halo because I expect to see what the. So if you didn't watch the Iron Lords, we did our what is it called? Not preview. What do they call when you're doing that speculation? Prediction. Yeah, I couldn't think.
Predictions?
Yeah, predictions.
Lord.
Don't feel bad. I did the same. I couldn't remember words.
I was about to say it.
No,
I was about to say it.
I was gonna say. I said it to it. I said speculation. That's what made him think about it because I couldn't think of the word that started with a P. Yeah, prediction. So we did the prediction show, and that was one of my predictions. Is the fact that we're going to get a chance to see. Not what the next Halo game is, but we're going to see the direction they're going with Halo when it comes to like engine. I think we're going to see Unreal Engine 5 and get a chance to see what Master Chief's going to look like inside of Unreal Engine 5.
Sure.
That's I think that's what we're going to see. Like it's going to they'll probably do some teasing of the Master Chief collection, especially if they go off of what you're saying with this whole, Xbox or Microsoft gaming multiplayer showcase. Did they
Microsoft? Yeah, you got it right. You got it. Go ahead.
Yeah, because it's basically Microsoft pulling all the strings at this point. But no, I think that's why I expect to see this there, because the biggest reason for me, a lot of people say Halo, like they look at Halo and say Halo isn't the biggest thing that Microsoft has. I feel like it's still the identity of Xbox, and the identity has been shattered a little bit due to just the direction of where the company's going with Xbox, going multi-platform and everything. I feel like not only just for Halo, especially since you renamed the studio Halo Studios, it's not 343 anymore. you kind of gotta put some assertiveness behind the fact that we still believe in it. Because right now, we even had podcasts somewhere where we said, do they really believe in Halo anymore? Because you wouldn't treat your billion-dollar franchise the way they treated it. Like, I'm the man that said, you decided to sell 20th anniversary mugs instead of, delaying your game so it could be better when we knew it was like broken kind of. So, there was a lot of different reasons to kind of think that they kind of just said, Halo is Halo. It's going to do what it's going to do. We don't really, not say they don't care, but the love affair that they used to have with the franchise isn't there anymore. I think with all the shakeups, the changing of the studio name, I feel like this is the perfect opportunity at this showcase to remind people that not only do we care about Halo, and not only are we going to back this franchise 100% like we always have, this is what you can look forward to in the next generation of Halo when it comes to Master Chief and the Avengers going forward. And they're just going to show it running in Unreal Engine 5. And they're going to do some type of sequence where you're going to see it and you're going to be like, dang, that looks crazy.
We got some breaking news. This probably will be mentioned at the showcase, but I might as well say it here as well, considering it's going to be what everyone's going to be talking about for the next few days. Black Myth Wukong is coming to Xbox Series X and S on August 20th.
In Game Pass? Day and date?
Literally a year to the day of its initial launch.
Yeah, so it was a year timed exclusive.
Oh,
Yeah.
hold on.
Now they try to downplay it, but Paul Tassi.
Let me check. Hold on. Black Myth Wukong release date. Are you saying it's really August 20th?
August 20th, 2024 to August 20th, 2025.
Ooh.
They got money. I just prefer transparency. That's all I would have.
I love it. He said, listen, man, this was like 1 year exclusive. Let's not make it like it was already than that.
Exactly.
That's what it
was.
Let's just be real.
So it was always coming. But guess what? Microsoft got criticized going back to remember the Tomb Raider saga about it being exclusive to the Xbox, and contractually they couldn't talk about how long the exclusivity was. But Square Enix got so much slack they just said it was a year exclusivity.
Yep, I remember very well. I remember even Xbox guys like Ryan McCaffrey. Like, oh, this is bad. And then when Sony did it with Final Fantasy, he's like, this is a great look for Sony. I'm like, wait a minute. Look for Sony.
It's what did they call it? They said that it's organic. Final Fantasy has always been a part of the PlayStation Nation. and guess what? Did Keeley up there talking about, exclusive. It's just exclusive. It's not going to any other platforms. And a year later, oh my God.
Right now,
those tweets age very well nowadays.
Exactly, and I played through the game already on PC a few times. I loved it. Got it the best, place to play it on PC in my opinion. But I just, like I said, I just prefer transparency. Just be honest, because it was obvious to me then. And Slow, you remember we were having this discussion in the chat back then. I was like, I think they were money headed. And Slow-Mo gave him a little more slack. He's like, well, we don't know yet. But he's an even keeled brother. I respect that.
No. He just wanted to that Sony right thing and not money. That's what he was saying. he said Microsoft has a track record of money hatting. We don't want to see PlayStation do what Sony does. And guess what? Slow-Mo.
If we were,
all these companies are the same. Literally,
right.
They are the only thing these companies are out here to do is separate you from your money. That is their job. That is why the marketing managers make the money.
Let me say this right. Let me say this.
Go ahead, Slomo.
I ain't dumb. All right, Sony. We ain't stupid. and game science. You know, you guys have been making games in your country. Now you on the world stage. The world ain't stupid either. Okay, so to the day, you know, look, you could at least try to hide it a little bit.
No, literally to the day.
Drop it on the 31st. Drop it on the 5th of August. Drop it in September. But to the day, hold on, to the day of the release last year, I mean, even if it wasn't what we think it is, it looked like that. So even if it wasn't that, you're basically inviting the conversation that it wasn't a technical issue. The only thing that was technically an issue was when was Sony's money hitting your bank account. Like that's the only technical issue you was really looking for. And so that's the way it looks. Fine. But I've never had a problem with money hats. Because I feel like that's how you provide value to your console. If you're going to spend some extra money to make sure that you have something that your competition don't have, hey, more power to you. If you figure that out and you get that done, then cool. You know, this is business. It's not. Well, that's not fair. You know, life isn't fair. You know, but hold on.
Yeah, you're on your soapbox. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So, but that said, when people ask, "What is this?" I don't appreciate the lies or the coming up with excuses where it's not. Just say what it is, bro. It's fine. You money hatted it. It's a hot game. Fine, you did it. Good for you. That's gonna bring more people to your platform.
But do we blame
you ain't
Sony?
got lie.
But do we blame Sony for that, or do we blame GameSide? Because if I'm Sony and I'm money hatting it, I'm telling GameSide when they ask me what
it depends on the deal, though.
No.
Because I've seen marketing deals that Sony has where the developer can't even mention other platforms. They can't even talk about other platforms. Remedy, when they had a marketing deal for Control with PlayStation, I remember specifically people talking to them at like PAX, and they were like, "Hey, so like, you know, are you gonna have?" I remember one of them had a question. They said, "Are you gonna have parity across the board with performance for the Xbox and PlayStation?" They were just like, "Oh, wait, what? The what?"
Bro,
hey, don't mention that other thing. I can't talk about whatever you just said.
No,
I don't even know what that is.
You're preaching to the choir, though, about that, because I remember when working in a store, and you remember my friend that was the Sony rep. When he worked at the store, he came into my store one day.
Right.
He came to my store one day. Yeah, Kronos. I know his real name, but I couldn't think of it. He came into the store one day, and I had, made cover art for Destiny for Xbox, because the game is on Xbox too. And he told me I had to take that down because the marketing deal that's in place, they can't even talk about. There can't be anything showing the word Xbox and Destiny in the same space. And then when you watch all of Bungie's Vidocs and everything, it was always about PlayStation. When they were doing testing, they only showed, even knowing they had Xbox. The game is out on Xbox. It literally, there is people playing the game on Xbox right now. And they were still they would never bring up any other platform. The only platform they would always say is PlayStation. So we understand, and we all knew that was a money hat. That was, come on, that's easy. But the thing that I was saying is, I can't be mad at Sony for doing that, because they probably told Game Science, when Game Science said, well, what you want us to tell everyone else? And they probably told him, that's your responsibility. We paid you. You come up with the reason why you can tell people. Listen, I'm being for real here. They probably, it's not that Sony hid it. Sony was like, hey, we're giving you money to not put this anywhere else. Now, if you want to go out and tell people that we got paid exclusivity from PlayStation, that's fine. PlayStation probably don't care because guess what? They've been doing it for years. So people know they do it. But guess what? It's the developer that made all these problems and make it seem like the game was going in other places. They wanted to come out and say, oh, technical difficulties is why it's not on these other platforms. PlayStation ain't make them do that. They ain't tell them to jump off the PlayStation didn't tell them to jump off a bridge and say, they told them, listen, that's your responsibility. We paid you the money to have it exclusive to us. What you tell your fans about your game is up to you. Make whatever decision you want to make. All we know is we're buying exclusivity for 1 year. And that ain't on PlayStation. That's on Game Science for allowing it to go down. Just like I talk crap about,
okay.
Just like I talk crap about Bungie and all the stuff that they did. But go ahead.
You can say it's their fault for signing the deal, but I really do feel that the lies they made up or the explanations they kept having, or it's a technical issue or whatever, was just due to they couldn't tell the truth. They literally, probably legally could not tell the truth.
That's possible.
I do think because we see the kind of deals that Sony makes with just marketing. Say
nothing about, but that's the thing though. You ain't got to say anything about.
You can't say anything.
No, you can't. But you ain't got to go out there and say, because basically what they did was they damaged the thought, they damaged the overall, thought of what the other console was, because think about where Xbox was at that time. Like everybody was basically saying this something like, oh, the Series S is holding us back, and then everybody instantly, as soon as Game Science said that it was technical difficulties why it wasn't anywhere else, everybody instantly just jumped to the fact that, oh, well, it's because of the Xbox Series S. Had nothing to do with it. They was just out here telling people
all they did was
supply.
All they did was supply Game Science with an excuse. Hey, what did Larian say last year? Xbox Series S. All right, cool. Yeah, I mean, look, not saying it's not difficult. It's not difficult to develop on that thing already. So they probably was just sitting back like, man, I can't believe we gotta put this on this daggone potato. Hey, we took a deal with Sony. All right, look. We got to come up with an excuse, okay? So this is what we're going to say. I'm already about to kick this daggone dev kit for this Series S through a window. We going to say this is the reason why it's the problem. Hey, but did you already get it figured out? Shh, don't worry about that. They're going to ask us why it's not on Xbox. Suddenly out of nowhere, we're going to tell them it's this.
We're gonna tell them it's this.
Because they can't tell the truth because they signed a deal with Sony. And my whole thing is that Sony, if you money had it, that's fine. You should money had stuff. You're competing. That's what competition does. Nintendo money had stuff. Nintendo money had a From Software game. You know how much money Nintendo had to spend on that? You know how many executives probably had to bleed literally for From Software to give them that like blood ritual kind of stuff. Like in order to get From Software, who said they don't want to do anything like Bloodborne again, to do a exclusive game, even timed exclusive for a period of time, but they got it done. Everybody getting it done. There's nothing wrong with it. You think you ask Nintendo, hey, did you money hat this? They'd be like, oh, yeah. Yeah, I'll do it again. I don't care. You want to play Dust Bloods? You know what you need to do.
Yeah.
Buy yourself a Switch 2 and enjoy the game. It works and it's worth it if the game is good. So why Sony wouldn't just say, yeah, we copped that. We did that.
That's my word. Yeah,
and what?
Word. What about it?
Yeah, we did that. Yeah, I crafted the contract up. It was fantastic. I looked at it when I was done and admired it. I put it on my wall before I hit send, and they signed it. Yes, I did that. Just keep it a buck.
Yeah,
we money had it. You want to play the game, you either get a PC or you play it on my platform. You don't like it, shut up. There you go.
You want them basically
You know,
like the kingpin of this right here. Just talk
Hey,
to it.
right, just own it. Just own it. That's all. Okay, I know that was a huge tangent. Go ahead, man.
I agree. I agree. Transparency is everything, but I just like the scenario better when they just told Game Science like that's your responsibility. It ain't ours. We paid you. Our responsibility was to give you the money to make this exclusive. What you tell your players is up to you.
I tell you, you got the money, didn't you?
You got the money. Hey, we
check,
didn't.
right?
Hey, we didn't pay you. We didn't pay you to have us make the decision for you.
Right.
No, we paid you so you can tell your player base whatever the heck you want to tell. You can tell them that you flew to the moon. All we care, as long as the game shows up on our platform, as long as you get back in enough time for that game to load on our platform, that's all that matters.
As long as it's on ours and not on the competitors.
That's it. That's literally
your
it.
check will clear.
But I will say this though, I will give because Gregor said in the chat, you know, it's all fun and games. It still could have been technical difficulties for the reason why it wasn't on there. But I will say this, it just doesn't look good that literally to the day of the deal of it coming out, that it's coming out on another platform. They could at least
on the nose. It's a little too on the nose for me.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I mean, I would have been like, it seems like as soon as they were contractually allowed to put it there, they were immediately ready to put it there. And watch it be super polished as it all get out because it's been ready, you know. But it just if this was me, I would have released it in September. Just to avoid all this, you know, you said all what you said, only to release it to the day a year later. Like, don't come on, bro, come on, man.
Wow, bro. Wow.
Hey,
don't
fellas,
kid her.
I gotta get going, but I want to ask. Maybe I could actually get back on here on my phone, but I don't know if y'all want the quality to possibly drop from my magnificent voice off my PC. But I'm not digging myself.
My ears. God.
Did you just breathe deeply into your mic?
You sure did. That was almost Unreal Engine 5 bad. Real quick, but before you just can you answer a question, because we need to get back on topic. Before you go, what do you expect? 3 questions. What do you expect to see the most from the show? What do you expect not to see? And what surprise do you think will show up that will shock everyone?
Surprise that will shock everyone. Splinter Cell remake or reboot.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
I'm praying that happens. I mean, it's associated with the OG Xbox. I would love that to happen. Ubisoft is not having a direct this year, or whatever, and it's associated closely to the Xbox originally. And they posted some teaser showing Sam Fisher, an old image of him. So just seems like the stars might align. What I don't expect to see, I said it on my show, though I don't really believe this. It was a wild card guess. Elder Scrolls 6. I don't think that will be there. And what I do expect to see, most expect to see, we got Clockwork Revolution, I would say. Oh, I'll go further. I'll go be more adventurous with it. Contraband. I expect us to finally see gameplay of that, though I've already seen it behind the scenes, but I will expect us to see this fully out in the open and actual gameplay of it. I did not see it in motion. I saw images, but I want to see it in motion. Yeah.
One more.
That would be my thing. Yes.
Yeah. One more question then. Second party, third party. What game do you expect to be there?
Outside of Splinter Cell, which would be a great.
Yeah, outside of Splinter Cell, yeah.
Second, third party. Oh, Persona 4, easy.
Okay.
Persona 4. Where there's I'm a believer of where there's smoke, there's fire. There's been way too much of that. The voice actors coming out saying what they said. To me, it leads to one thing. And Sega and Xbox have a great relationship, so I can see that happening.
Yeah, like if I thought about the one, so I agree with everything you just said. Now, what game, third party or second party game, better be there?
Second that better be there.
Because I got one game in particular that better be there.
That we know for sure is on PlayStation. You're saying?
It's on everything.
Oh, thank you. That solved it right then and there. Final Fantasy.
Oh no,
Final Fantasy
that better
remake.
that better be there too.
There.
That better be there too. But I'm thinking of another one.
That gotta be there because at this point it's already coming to Switch. It's already been announced.
Yep.
If they don't have that announced coming for Xbox here, hang it up. I wouldn't even allow Square games on my platform anymore if I was Microsoft. If they didn't bring that game and show it for me at this point.
I agree with that. And I wasn't even thinking about Final Fantasy. Said it, but the game that better be there. I swear to God, if it's not there, I believe the game doesn't exist. If Xbox literally tweeted on April 12th, PSA reminder, Silk Song will be available day and date Silk Song will be available day and date in Game Pass. Stay tuned. That was in April.
Yeah, that's got to be there too.
If that game is not there, I will crash. I need that game to be there because I've been waiting for 5 years. Like the fact that it's been announced on every platform, and the thing is, Microsoft has and the reason it needs to be here is because Microsoft has the marketing deal for it. That's why nobody else has announced anything about a release date. It needs to be here. If it's not here now, it's never coming, bro.
It's it'll come, but it just feels like it's just crazy for me. I feel like Final Fantasy is of that ilk where it will never come, but Hollow Knight, I feel like it will. Silk Song. It's just that it's been so long. Finally, we need to see something. So I'm with you on that 100%. But those are the two. I would say both of those. Final Fantasy remakes of 16, all that. 16 less so. Final Fantasy 7 remake. That needs to show up for me. But I agree. Hollow Knight Silk Song needs to be there too after all this time. It's 5 years. I know it's a smaller team with Team Cherry. Still, that's a long time. Show us something. Something.
Exactly.
But
we
fellas,
appreciate you, bro.
I appreciate you all more. All love to you guys. I got to get going. I will say all love to the chat as well. You all know where to find me. Infinite Umber Infinite. You'll find me either way on social media. You'll find me Thursdays on my podcast, The Fix, at 8:00 Eastern. And I know I kind of clashed with you guys. I wish I could move up in time so not to do that. But our schedules and such and the way they're aligned. But love to you guys. I love what you guys do. Keep doing your work. And
appreciate you.
Canada. Mo is from Canada. Just wanted to make
wow. You know what? Hey, but before you go, you know there's something. You know how we you could go back to the very beginning, how we started on time. That's one thing that, something that you might want to pick up for the fix in the future, starting on time. You also notice how smooth the podcast went. There wasn't any but where'd my mic go? No.
This is slanderous SloMo right now.
So I'm just just so you see how a smooth podcast runs. You can carry that along to the fix. I'm sure Daniel would love that.
I created Forte with all of the smooth running. So.
Wow, yes. You absolutely tell that to chat. Is this all Forte?
It doesn't matter what the
chat will let you know.
It only matters what guest. He's a guest, and the guest is always right.
That's right. Thank you, Forte. Thank you for running a tight ship here and keeping SloMo in check because he needs it. And that's about it.
Yeah, man. Guess what? You have a great.
Don't you have a Stutter Engine 5 game to go play? Get out of here.
Enjoy your Switch 2 when you finally get it, because we all know that you play on everything and they don't wait for games to buy a platform. But we appreciate you, man. Thanks for coming through, and we'll always get you back on here, even if we got to move the time to get you on here sometime.
Absolutely. I will love to come through anytime you all will have me, for sure. Also, I hope SloMo's Nintendo Switch come with staples in the screen. I will see you guys. Y'all have a good one.
You know what?
You too, bro.
Have a horrible night. I hope you have diarrhea all night. Good night, buddy.
Later, y'all.
Later.
That is Infinite Umbra, good guy. He's a good guy. We have a good time and a lot of conversations in gaming, on a daily basis with him. He's a good dude. Check out The Fix on his YouTube channel if you haven't seen it before. It's a good show. He does it with Daniel. I forgot his whole name, but like they do a dual podcast like us. Check it out if you have the time in the future. Forte, you already did yours. Let me tell you what I got here. Okay, so look, what do I expect to see? I expect to see every single trailer showing a PlayStation logo at the end. That's what I expect to see. That was a free one. Okay, for real. This is what I expect to see. Actual gameplay of State of Decay 3. I think they're going to show not like it's not a showcase, but I think they're going to show. They showed a little bit of gameplay. Like it was a mix of like cinematic cutscene and gameplay the last time they showed it last year, I think. But I think this year they're just going to show unedited gameplay. Maybe some survivors clearing a house and then getting attacked and stuff like that. And I think visually, it's finally going to look the way people have wanted State of Decay to look, and not look, like nowhere near as close to the trailers as the first two games did. So that's what I expect to see. What I do not expect to see, and I'm gonna go out on a limb on this one, even though it seems like some leakers have said otherwise. I don't expect to see Final Fantasy VII Remake there.
I think 16 is going to be there, though.
I do think I could see 16 being there for certain, but 7 Remake?
I don't think we're going to get 7 until all of it's out.
Yeah, I could see that happening where when the last one drops on PlayStation, maybe like a year later, then it shows up, all of them show up as a collection on Xbox, I think.
That's what
But and what would surprise me, I think, we've been seeing a lot of IO Interactive over this week, and we've seen 007 First Light, which Sony has the marketing for. But years and years ago, we heard these rumors about a project that Xbox Publishing was working with IO Interactive, and it wouldn't surprise me at all if we finally do see this mysterious fantasy game that's so different than what IO Interactive have done in the past for Xbox Publishing. As a multiplayer, of course, because everything's multi-platform. But that's what I think. That's what I wouldn't be surprised about. We could. Let me kind of. I'm trying to phrase this the right way. You think we'll see? I'll ask you a few games. Fable. You think we're going to see Fable again?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Perfect Dark. You think we'll see that again?
We better. I think so. Yeah.
I don't know if we see Perfect Dark.
I think we need to see Perfect Dark. Well, we saw what was that? Was that during the June showcase?
They showed gameplay.
I know they showed gameplay.
Like it's on the Jumbotron right now. This was. I'm showing you the Xbox showcase from last year. That was June. That was June.
Okay, so they probably won't show that then. Okay, they don't have to show that. I didn't know if they showed it in January, if it was in June last year. No, they're not. Yeah.
Okay.
They don't have to show that. They just showed it.
I wanted to see Clockwork Revolution gameplay.
Oh, that's coming out the gate. That's first. I think that's first out the gate.
Okay. I think they should show that. And I mean, who else? I mean, I think that's really about it. Like, I unless there's some brand new stuff that we haven't seen yet that's in development. They're probably due for another Forza, like a Forza Horizon 6 now.
Japan, baby.
It's been a few years since 5, and typically, they like it for people that don't know, like when even though they're making Fable, they got 2 completely different studios that are working on both games. So them making Fable hasn't impacted Forza Horizon's development whatsoever. So probably wouldn't be like a completely revamped kind of Forza. It's going to be probably what we, another festival with the same kind of Forza Horizon gameplay, which is really good. It's the best arcade shooter out there. Arcade racer out there, but just a different location. We dope if they did like Japan or something, some place we've never been before. But that's that'd be nice. Let's get out of here, man. It's super late, bro.
This was 3 hours. Let's go.
Yeah,
Energy.
see, look, this is why I was trying to speed through as many things as possible, because I knew that we were going to get to talking. But again, I reiterate, we'll be going live for the showcase this Sunday. Forte will be hosting on IOP, but we'll be all in the same Discord chat together and I'll be streaming here on the DPS. So it'll be a dual IOP DPS stream. Come check it out. We'll be discussing all the great games that are going everywhere. And but no, Forte, let everyone know what you're doing outside of that for the rest of the week.
Yeah, I can't wait to be with everything. Today was pretty much the finale, at least for me at my store with Switch 2. I only had like a couple of pre-orders that needed to get picked up, so I'm kind of back to normal on that. But finishing out some games. I actually am looking to do some things on the content creation side to get back into that. Probably gonna. I'm thinking about
like making videos for this channel, like you were supposed to do.
I think I'm gonna I think I'm gonna piss SloMo off and upload a breakdown of the Switch 2 on here. And I recorded my unboxing and everything already. And like
that would not piss me off, because
gawking at the screen.
Uploading content on this channel is what I've been wanting you to do for I don't know how many months now. So yeah, I'm fine with it.
Oh my god! But other than that, that's pretty much it. But Gaming Forte, YouTube, Twitter, Xbox Live, PlayStation. See you guys next week, and then more information around the stream over this weekend. Check us out in both places. Same voices, no matter where we're at. But you guys enjoy your weekend. Hope you got a Switch if you wanted one. If you didn't want one, then hope you're enjoying your decision. Yep, you have a good weekend.
Cool. For myself, I know I have not. I got a little deterred with the Division 2 DLC release. It kind of threw me off, but like I need to get back to the Borderlands streams. I will be trying to do that this weekend, so look out for one this weekend. I need to finish. I think this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna do 2 streams, more streams of Borderlands 1 Game of the Year edition. Then I'm gonna switch to Borderlands pre-sequel. The next stream would be me finishing the main campaign, and then off stream, I'm going to grind this game to get min max, and then my next stream after that would be my max level min max Lilith build, and I'm gonna do that fantastic General Knox DLC for Borderlands 1 that is the best content in the game. And then after that, then I'll get into Borderlands pre-sequel. But that's 2 streams outside of what you already know that we're doing and for the future. So look out for those. I will make sure to tweet it out this time because I kept forgetting to do that. But let's get out of here. Hope you guys enjoyed the show. And yeah, peace, man.
Peace.